Flyers, Union, and the best Eagles talk in Philadelphia. 97.5, The Fanatic.
Good morning. Thought I'd help you wake up.
It's 6 a.m., and you're listening to The John Kincade Show, Philadelphia's longest-running sports talk morning show on 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
Let the party begin!
The show starts now.
If today isn't a party, I don't know when a party will be held. I guess tomorrow morning if Bob doesn't fall off his chair. John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic. I'm not sure we caught that on the video.
Probably not.
But it would be fun if we did. A party awaits you tonight. A party you had last night. A party you had Saturday night. And as we begin today, the feeling of impending joy is just overcoming me. One, in that the Eagles lived up to the expectation that I had for them and others had for them. And two, that the Phillies can do something that maybe the younger generation doesn't see it as odd, but to me it's still crazy. I stared yesterday at my pennant wall. In my Kincade, I only have pennants from years where my team made it to the championship series. So you have to win a conference or win a championship to have a pennant on the wall. And I looked at that Phillies wall that I just updated last year, and I said to myself, there's another pennant going to go up on that wall, isn't it? And no, I don't think I'm jinxing it. And no, I don't think I'm feeling, outrageously optimistic. It's called confidence. And when you know you're better, and you know you're stacked up, and you know things are in your favor, you should expect them to go your way. Sort of like last night. You're the better team. You're the team with pedigree. You're the team that went out there. And I loved what I saw the majority of the night last night. Brian Johnson and I still have major issues. Major issues. And I think he's potentially, in fact, holding them back. But I'm actually more concerned about two things. One on the positive side, one on the negative side when it comes to the Eagles. One, the amazing A.J. Brown, who I still remember when the trade went down, I thought A.J. Brown was the top 15 receiver in the NFL, which at the time he was probably more like top 10. I'm thinking like top 15. He's outstanding. He is absolutely must-see TV, amazing. And I wonder if he doesn't have a little bit of that Bryce Harper in him, or if Bryce Harper has a little bit of that A.J. Brown in him. But also, too, I'm concerned about the potential knee injury, which caused Jalen Hurts to put on a brace and caused A.J. Brown to say, I'm not going to put his personal business out there, but you don't know how tough the guy is. I wonder how long has Jalen Hurts been playing hurt? But all of that leads us again. Today is a day for joy. Today is a day for high expectation. We should expect nothing less than to come in here one of the next 2 days and be celebrating another National League championship. And we've got a 6-1 Eagles team that answered every freaking question you could ever have had about them. Joy. Feel it today. Bobby, I know you felt it. Saw you early this morning. You're feeling it. You're ready for 5:05 to come around.
Yeah, that's going to be fun. I don't know if the Eagles answered every question we have about them. That was a very good win. Good win last night, which is good. I don't mind it. I don't mind that they keep climbing the ladder, John. I don't. I didn't have the confidence. You did good on you early in the week, saying that you had the utmost confidence they were going to beat that Dolphins team last night. I didn't. And it was funny, walking around last night. So I got to the parking lot probably around 3:45 yesterday. We went on air at 5.
Okay.
So I walked around, had a couple friends that I just wanted to see, give high fives to and stuff like that. And walking around and people are like, hey, go Birds, what do you think? What do you think? To almost a person that I talked to, it was,
oh, my gosh,
yeah,
the Dolphins.
so.
The Dolphins are coming to town.
No, it wasn't that, John. It was more of, it's going to be a tough one. This is, nail biter. It wasn't the overconfidence, they're going to kick their asses. It wasn't that. It was a thoughtful, man, this is going to be a tough one. And they were right. And it was a tough one. I'll tell you what. If I had a crown and I had to put it on somebody last night in the locker room, who would it be on, John?
I'm going to think you'd put it on Sean Desai.
Damn straight. And you and I did not talk about this for a second.
I think
did
Sean
not
Desai, if I had
during
to say
the weekend.
Yeah, exactly.
That defense, I want to say it was almost high schoolish, college-ish. The way they were running around and after plays were done and hustling back to the huddle. And it was such a coachable defense last night that I have to give Sean Desai some major kudos. I thought they were not only good, they were hyper, they were excited, they were prepared, they didn't let things bother them. Touchdown to Tyreek Hill. Okay, fine, he's going to get them. They were phenomenal last night, and it looked to me, more than anything, it looked coachable to me.
I couldn't get over the point where at halftime and one time during the game, Collinsworth says it during the game. At halftime, I believe it was, I can't remember who said it, the defense for the Eagles looks rather simplistic tonight. Something along those lines. I loved it.
Yeah.
Because this is again, I know Chunas always likes to use the boy genius for Sean McVay, but this is the greatest offensive mind ever. It's Mike McDaniels. They made his offense look. They scored 7 points last night. They scored 7 because Jalen Hurts gave them 10. He gave them the gift 7, and he fumbled on the 23, which gave them a field goal. They scored 7 freaking points.
Yeah.
And to me, I don't know. Sometimes, Bob, keeping it simple, stupid, the old KISS method, I never usually believe in that, but I saw it last night.
Well,
I saw it, and I believe it now.
I think it was a lot more complicated than our naked eyes could see. I don't think you can keep it simple, stupid with the likes of Waddle, with the likes of Hill, with the likes of Tua, with the likes of Mostert. I think they made it look simple because they were so smartly advanced than the Miami Dolphins offense. I really do. I was amazed at that defense last night. And Pat might get on me for this. We said it earlier this week. We said it on the pregame yesterday. One of our biggest players that had to have a good game was Hassan Reddick.
Oh, yes.
He didn't have a sack. If you would have said to me before the game, oh, he's not going to have a sack, all right. We're going to have to live without Hassan Reddick. He was maybe the best defensive player last night for the Eagles.
Pat never bets against Hassan Reddick showing up and making some noise. Biggest fan of Hassan Reddick before he ever arrived in town.
Yeah, huge Reddick guy.
And
he was a monster yesterday.
He's a monster.
Now, do I wish he got a sack? Because I did have that bet.
That's different. You're a selfish bastard.
Yeah, it did cost me $17.50. But life goes on, gentlemen. So you got to look at it like you just paid $17 for them to go 6-1 because that dude.
Thank you, Pat.
That dude balled. Yeah, thank you. You're welcome, Bobby. that dude balled out in every sense other than the sack. I mean, the broadcast was highlighting it, but he was all over the field. Like, he looked really, really engaged. And I couldn't agree more with Bob giving the game ball to Sean Desai because that defensive game plan was tremendous. I mean, they did everything they needed to do. And the fact that you held the Dolphins offense to 1 touchdown, it kind of says it all. Sean Desai is a guy that I criticized really early on in the season, but as the weeks have gone on, it seems like he's really gotten comfortable in that role. And you're seeing this defense look a little bit more like last year's defense in terms of just being monsters and being productive and getting off the field and stymieing opposing offenses. Yeah, it was fun to watch last night.
What a amazing, the energy good at the pregame show. I got to hear some of it, and it seems like the energy was good. Everybody all excited for that. These night games, though, are killing the city. I imagine work productivity is very much down right now. Between what the Phillies and the Eagles are doing to them. We need more. The 5:05 today is perfect.
Yeah, it is. And I described last night's crowd as kind of punch drunk. And not just like they were there early drinking. It wasn't that. It was kind of like, oh, another late night. Here we go. But your spirits were lifted because of what the Phillies did on Saturday night after everybody was in, the basement on Saturday morning after Friday night game.
Yes.
So, it's the roller coaster of emotions, but nobody rides that roller coaster better than Philadelphia fans. So, I equated yesterday to trying to get up for a game after, playing a doubleheader the night before that ended at 2 a.m. You have a day game the next day for fans. It was tough, but they were ready and they were there, and Kelly Green and all that stuff. Yesterday was, I said it to Pat, I thought they were going to be kind of punch drunk. Nah, they were ready to go. It was cool.
Bradford White Water Heaters bring you the 6 o'clock hour of the John Kincade Show. Bradford White is here for the pro. They'll take great care of you, but I would imagine some people are probably going to spend a few more minutes under the hot water this morning, getting themselves ready. What could be a very, very joyous night. And it's going to, I mean, it's absolutely amazing. And I want to get to that other story because tonight it doesn't happen. I mean, this will be the 7th time, Bob, in our lifetimes where we can see the Phillies go to the World Series. Now, that doesn't sound bad. That sounds that sounds pretty good.
7th time they could go?
80, 83, 93, 08, 09, and 2022. Those are 6.
Wow.
7th time tonight. 7th is my lucky number. 7th is the charm. And I expect to be adding another pennant to the wall at some point. Now, I don't buy the pennant until I see if they win the World Series or not, which I'm certainly hoping happens. But I was disgusted. And, Pat, I really wanted to talk to you about this right off the bat.
What's wrong?
Saturday morning pissed me off, even listening to this radio station. Oh, boy, the bats are dead at the worst time. It all ran out. This team, oh, my God. It was so negative. So freaking, this team's 2-2 in the NLCS. And the majority of people that I heard on our radio station, it was, oh, boy, no chance to win. I know you didn't give up on this team. And I can't understand that anybody would.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about it on Friday's show of, hey, if you wake up tomorrow morning, you're not going to be doom and gloom. I was pissed off.
You're pissed off.
But it more had to do with, hey, this series should be wrapped up tonight, not scared of what
might happen.
Yeah, the damn Diamondbacks. I mean, look, this team is scary good, and I'm talking about the Phillies, to the point where they have trailed in the series. Trailed in the entire postseason 7 innings. And the majority of them, by the way, happened on Friday night. Majority of those innings, it was 5 innings where they trailed. That's how good this team is, where, it takes kind of a Herculean effort to beat them, and they're never seem to be out of it. So, yeah, I was annoyed Saturday morning.
You were annoyed. I was pissed off, too.
There was no doubt about, I wasn't nervous Saturday night.
I wasn't either.
I was tired, but I wasn't nervous. And I wasn't surprised by the result. They came out. They put on the Diamondbacks. I expect the same thing tonight. And God forbid they lose tonight. I expect them to win, Game 7. It's just, this team is the better team.
Bottom line.
Yep.
Zach Wheeler was epic, Bob. And honestly, this entire postseason, it has just been, Zach Wheeler is pitching like the best pitcher in baseball right now.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's ever been discussed in that way.
It's funny. Somebody put out on Twitter yesterday, and I apologize. I saw it. They put out his 8 or 10 outings in the postseason. Phenomenal.
Him and Bob Gibson.
Yeah, it was one clunker in there, but of the 8 or 10, like I said, a 2.3 ERA, going into the 6th or 7th inning every time. He was so good the other night. I was praying he got through that 7th inning, not because you needed him or the bullpen or this, that, and the other, just because I wanted him to, just because I wanted to watch him pitch another inning. He was that good. And when he pitches like that and you get clutch hitting the way they did, that was cool. And you know what? One little side thing, because I know we didn't have this on our show sheet or anything like that. For all you asses out there that think that Bryce Harper had a mean play or was a dirty play at home.
Oh, my gosh, shush.
You've never played sports.
No.
How many collisions have you guys, have all of us been in? I don't care if it's baseball, basketball, football, hockey, whatever it is. If a collision is coming to a part of your body, you protect it by putting your arms up. I don't think he extended his arm. I don't think he looked to hit the guy. He put his arms up because a collision was coming to his midsection. And for the asses on Twitter and national baseball people to say it was a dirty play, and I've played baseball my whole life.
Oh, shush.
You've never been hit.
No, you never played baseball.
Get out of here. But hey, I loved what the Phillies did this weekend. It was cool.
It's so exciting. And tonight is the night. And we only have to wait another 11 hours till this game's going to be ready to start. I'm just amazed at the times we're living in, though, Bob. Think of how many times growing up, think of how many times as a young adult, think of how many times as a married man that we've had this October, where the Phillies and the Eagles are both just clicking on everything. And the Eagles aren't even clicking on every cylinder yet. And we have the best team in football tied for it. And we have a team that is ready to go to the World Series with a win.
And it's been 2 years in a row.
It's amazing. It's amazing. Pat, to you, does it feel different because you didn't have the same upbringing, obviously? That you grew up in a different generation of Philly sports fans.
I can confirm.
Does it feel the same? Like to you, do you feel the same joy this morning? Are you bouncing off the walls a little bit? Because I don't know how I'm going to make it till 5:05. No?
Weirdly.
Why?
No.
Is it calm?
Yeah, it's more of a calmness than anything else.
May I say sports arrogance?
Maybe someone would perceive it that way.
You are so confident tonight's going to go well.
Maybe
Okay.
maybe I took a vitamin gummy and I thought it was a vitamin gummy, but it's another gummy. I don't know. I remember in 08 and 09, and that was bouncing off the walls. And even last year, similar. But this year maybe it's like the whole job's not done mindset that this team seems to have, but. No, I just look across the diamond and see the Arizona Diamondbacks and just go you're not going to beat. Yeah, you're not beating the Phillies twice at home. So it's probably the reason why I am so calm is everything that's transpired this postseason leads me to believe this is a formality.
He's growing up right before our eyes, John.
I love it though, Pat.
He's growing up. He's maturing. Pat, I'm so proud of you.
Not physically though.
Can someone take some duct tape though?
What's up?
And a sock, and tell Garrett Stubbs to shut up. Shut up, seriously. You do exactly what Arcia did. No, but you do exactly what Arcia did. Just don't do it. Don't do it. There's no reason for it.
Go ahead. You can say it. It's fine.
There's no reason for it.
Talk your talk.
I mean, no. He doesn't even play. Yeah. He shouldn't be talking. He shouldn't be writing checks.
He's the director of fun and games.
Oh, that's good. No, John Brazier is. I've seen John Brazier's business card.
I think Stubbs stole it.
Well, guess what? Say, please, let the guys who are playing talk. That's exactly what Arcia did, and we all ripped it.
No. Arcia was a little bit more, I thought. Yeah, maybe. Okay, I'll give you that.
We're going to go party in their pool. Arrogant. And you're not even playing. You're not even a guy who contributes.
Yeah, I find, my wife said the same thing to me this weekend, John. I know how, yeah, you're right. She's like, oh, my gosh, why are they getting upset about that? And I said, I don't know. They're just looking for something.
Yeah, they're looking for something, just like the Phillies
were looking
did.
for something.
Right, just like the Phillies did.
But that's okay. I don't care, and they shouldn't care. When the Phillies said it, cute, whatever. Arcia, though, the thing that sticks in my mind most is him doing the nanny boo-boo in the dugout.
That was stupid.
His immaturity grew after that. I don't think that Stubbs' immaturity is going to grow after this.
Hey, Football Mondays on The Fanatic are presented by Pierce Phelps Bryant, heating and air conditioning contractors. Visit nopaybryant.com. Get flexible spending options on a new heating and cooling system. When we return, you will hear from Nick Sirianni. And Nick Sirianni will not only address his superstar wide receiver, but his quarterback who may be hobbled, and it may be being kept secret. We'll get to it next. John Kincade Show here on 97.5, The Fanatic. I love my friends at Window Nation, and I love the fact that they're always looking out for my listeners. Right now, you can get 2 free windows for every 2 that you buy. That's a fantastic deal in and of itself. You have 24 windows in your house. How about paying for 12 of them? But it gets better. How about putting no money down, making no payments, and paying no interest for 2 full years? You got windows in your house that are hard to open and close. They're drafty. They're leaky. Well, take advantage of Window Nation's great deal right now. Paying for half the windows you're buying is already a great deal. But not opening your wallet for 2 full years? That's outrageous. It's going to be awesome. And if you take care of it now before the cold weather arrives, you can save up to 30% on your energy bills, which also helps you out. They've
back to the John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
Everybody waking up this morning just got to be saying, you got the best record in the NFL. You got a chance to go to the World Series again. And one of our listeners, Rick, goes, I'm 61 years old, and I was saying in my radio, he's wrong. We haven't been to the World Series 6 times in my lifetime, and he had to do the math along with us as we were doing it. He said, I can't believe it, where this team is right now and where they could be for a couple years to come. I mean, it's – And Rick's 61, and he says he listens every morning, and he said he's feeling very upbeat this morning. He does want to ask, Pat, why are you so calm? Because you are more Phillied up on a daily basis. You, Tunis, Connor, are Phillied up like ridiculously almost every day all summer. Why are you so calm? Are you that? And I said the arrogance. He doesn't believe it's arrogance.
Honestly, it might legitimately be lack of sleep. So if you catch me in a couple hours, I might be more. So the good stuff would be like midday. Maybe. I mean, I think we're all running on fumes. You talked about it. Yeah, it's. I'm usually an advocate for 8:00 games, but yesterday, I was following along that Texas Rangers game and doing fist pumps every time they scored a run. So that's part of it. But no, I think a big part of it has to do with the home field advantage, and I just don't envision the Diamondbacks beating this Phillies team in CBP on back-to-back time. Like,
it's going to be so exciting.
You know, it's and by the way, and I think I had a similar arrogance in 2009. You know, the Dodgers were really good, and I was lucky enough to go to the game they clinched. And the Dodgers were really good, but like, Dodgers threw out Vicente Padilla in a game to clinch, and I just remember being like, yeah, they're cooked.
They're cooked.
And it was a nervous energy of like, man, this is going to be awesome, but this year's a little different, and it's probably the opponent is probably the way the Phillies have won some of these games, and even the games that they've blown. It's like, all right, that's kind of going to happen sometimes here and there, but the Phillies have, I think, asserted themselves as the better team. So I feel like tonight's just a formality. It's a conclusion. They're going to advance.
Kelly in one start though has outpitched Zach Gallen's 2 starts, and so there is a little bit of interest in that one tonight. He looked good the first time around. I have a feeling the second time around he won't have the same success. That's my call.
Yeah.
I don't believe he's going to go as far into the game.
It's funny. Before the series started, we had somebody on from Arizona, and they said, we asked, Jody, how can they win the series? And he said, they have to win 3 of the 4 games that Gallen and Kelly start. Well, they're 0 for 3
lost
so
all 3,
far.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was there the other night, and I sent him a couple texts. He said the Philly people were loud, proud, and really making their presence known.
That was cool.
Did you see after the game?
Yeah.
The Phillies fans that just piled into the lower level.
That was awesome.
And the second level. It was incredible.
Yeah. They were interviewing Bryce. Did you not see it, honestly?
No, I really
it's
didn't.
Incredible.
Yeah, so they're interviewing Bryson Stott after the game, and he's on the field, and every Arizona Diamondback fan must have left, and every Phillies fan came down behind the dugout.
Pat, I'm saying.
So the whole section was just all Phillies fan, and he turns around, and he's like, this is unbelievable.
If you go the whole length of the dugout, and I would say a section or 2 down and a section or 2 out, it was completely filled with Phillies fans.
That's awesome.
And they were singing, dancing on my own, and they were just having a blast.
Yeah, if you're an opposing player, if you're, you know, a Phillies player or an opposing player, that must be a wild scene, right? You're like,
yes.
You know, if you're a Diamondbacks player, geez, all right, that's a nice reminder of what we have to go back to Philadelphia for. If you're a Phillies player, you're like, yeah, exactly what Bryson Stott said. Like, this is awesome. We're 3,000 miles away, and we have this kind of support. And it's, you know, people like Vince Rizzuto from Philly Sports Trips having trips out there and whatnot. But, you know, Philly sports fans travel. Like, we know that.
It's gotten
especially
better
in big
and
games.
better, though.
Yeah, it has. It has.
In this generation, and Bob, I think that in Pat's generation coming up, it's gotten better and better as far as traveling. Philly fans always were very supportive, but we never got talked about as taking over stadiums like this 20 years ago.
No, and it's getting contagious, right?
It is. Now everybody wants to go.
Everybody's looking for it, and Vince Rizzuto and his people are great at doing it, and he was exhausted last night at our pregame. I couldn't believe he was even there.
Yeah, not to cut you off, Bobby, but it was funny because, yeah, John, you should have seen him. Like, he was clearly running on empty, and the entire time had a smile on his face.
Yeah.
And was saying to me, yeah, waking up tomorrow, I'll have a trip either to Houston or Texas. I'm ready for that. But, wake up tomorrow, figure it out, and do it all over again. But it's like this month just zaps all of his energy, and he loves it.
It's a beautiful thing to wake up this morning. None of us are pissed off to be tired this morning because it's all great.
Yeah.
It's all gravy.
And it's funny. You wake up Saturday. This is what I love about sports, and other people hate it, and I totally understand it. And I'm sure we all woke up to this on Saturday morning after Friday night's game. Saturday, we wake up and people are pissed off and this, and all of us, I'm sure, are getting texts from friends and family like, oh, my God, what the hell's wrong with them? What do you think? And all this. And my response to everyone was like, yeah, this is sports.
It's
like,
you're not expected.
It's okay.
It's not supposed to be easy. I told Olivia, it's not supposed to be easy.
I totally felt on Saturday morning, as aggravating as Friday night was, my response to everybody was, they're fine. It's okay.
It'll be okay.
A lot of people predicted the Phillies to win in 6. Well, you had to lose 2.
We did.
And that's what it is. That's what sports are. And if you can take it in that way, is it the boring way? Probably. I left a friend's house after the game, and he's jumping up and down, pissed off and all that. And he's like, Kun, what's up, man? What? Like, I said, tomorrow's another day.
Exactly.
Like
Chill.
24 hours from now. And I'm not blaming anybody. I love the emotion of everybody. But I was just like, yeah, another 24 hours, we could feel totally different.
And we did.
And that's what this Phillies team is right now. And you got to love it. Enjoy the ride.
I can't wait till 5 o'clock.
Yeah, I was surprised at how many people had this nervousness.
Oh my gosh.
That they were going to lose the series, and I was just more pissed off that we're I feel like we should be coming and talking about them going to the World Series and talking about who you want to play and all that. But you know what? At the end of the day, they've got 2 games at home, and giving the fans a chance to see that, I think is pretty cool. For the 44,000 people that are going to have tickets to that game tonight, it's a pretty cool experience.
Okay, let's hear though. We have the reason we're all beat this morning though is because we were up late last night celebrating an Eagles victory over the outman Dolphins. By the way, that I said yesterday on Twitter at the end of the game, towards the end of the game, so Philadelphia has beaten 2 27 Yankees offenses in a matter of a couple weeks. The Miami Dolphins managed 244 yards of offense. 244. Complete domination by an Eagles defense, by the way, was missing 3 guys. 2. Nick Sirianni, though, had to brag on a guy that I've been talking all morning with Bob about it. I can't get over A.J. Brown. And what A.J. Brown has 809 yards receiving already. He has 52 receptions in the 7 games. He has 809 yards. He's averaging 15.6 yards per reception. It's freaking unbelievable, and Nick Sirianni brags on it.
Nobody catches the ball as pretty as A.J. Brown. Nobody. I can't tell you how many times at practice. I'm just in awe of good wide receivers and the skill that they have. And, nobody goes and snags the football like him. There's nobody I've seen. It's so much cooler in person to see that and when it's on your team. So he's on a tear right now, and the other guys are playing good too. Why is he on a tear? Well, because Devontae Smith's on one side and Dallas Goedert is in the middle, and DeAndre Swift's in the backfield, and now Julio Jones over there.
You can't say enough about, by the way, Dallas Goedert's game last night. All of a sudden, Dallas Goedert, after a quiet September, has been making noise in October, and he's been reliable. No drops, no bad drops, nothing. I mean, and last night, he was a bit of a force when they needed him to be early on.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and it's funny that Sirianni brings that up, because when I was watching the postgame last night and he brought that up, I thought to myself, is he relaying a message? Is he kind of talking to his offensive coordinator here? Wow, look at all these weapons we have. When you go this and you go that and you go the other. Their offense was good last night. Can it be better? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it can be. I still have questions of what the hell are they doing in the way that they use Kenny Gainwell.
And the red zone as a whole.
Idea. What in the holy hell are you thinking with him? Why are you... Kenny Gainwell needs to be used as a surprise, not as we're shoving him down your throat here inside the 20. It's like the biggest conundrum, and not to complain about anything about last night, but it's the biggest conundrum that's going through my mind is why can't they figure out how to or not to use Kenny Gainwell right now?
That's my one complaint.
What
about
is
it.
Maybe the only after last night.
That's your only?
I mean,
how about all the runs on third down in the red zone?
Yeah, well, it's
their red zone
ridiculous.
offense still is bad. Yeah.
You know, like it reminds me, I think in 2011, maybe 2012, Andy Reid had such a affinity of using the Hall of Famer Eldra Buckley in the red zone. Like
Wasn't
he would
it
just
Broderick?
No, it was Eldra. Eldra Buckley. Like he would just hand the ball off to Eldra Buckley. And when he wasn't handing the ball off to Eldra Buckley, he was throwing at Chad Hall. And you'd be watching it just shaking your head going, what is it about Eldra Buckley that you have an affinity of handing the ball off in the most important time of the game? And I feel like with Kenny Gainwell in the red zone, I'm watching that. And to watch him score a touchdown last night, and by the way, incredible touchdown. You know, I mean, to the balance.
Good run on him.
Yeah, it's great. My first thought was, oh, great. Now Brian Johnson's going to hand the ball off to him, 10 out of 10 times.
Oh, my God.
In the red zone.
Exact same thought, Pat.
Like
I
it's
had
just,
the exact
You
same
guys are
thought.
fatalistic.
Brian Johnson must have been sitting there going, see?
See, I'm right.
And I won't ever understand it. I can't wrap my mind around it.
Now, I don't know what's going. Here is one thing I do know though when we talk about A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. Devontae Smith with another bad drop at one point, but it was a high pointed ball. But I mean, other than that, Devontae has 50 targets. A.J. has 75.
Yeah.
Is that a problem?
Not to me, not to a lot of people. It might be a problem to Devontae.
He's 380. He has 383 yards receiving compared to 809 for A.J. Brown. I'm just saying it's a story that's not a story right now, but I believe it'll be a story. If Devontae Smith becomes just a side piece here, he's not. He's going to want out, so you're going to have to go replace him at some point. He's eligible for a new contract this offseason. He doesn't have to get it. But he's not going to be happy. He's not going to be happy getting, where AJ's getting 75 and he's getting 50.
I'll tell you why I don't think that's going to be the case.
Okay.
It's twofold. One is winning cures a lot, and this team wins a lot. So I think that's the first one. The second thing is way more important. Money talks.
You don't think they're going? You don't think he'll get offered big time?
Well, I mean, yes, on the open market he would, but I think in Philadelphia you have the luxury of having a guy in Jeffrey Lurie who cuts that guaranteed money and cuts that check, that signing bonus, where, other teams don't do it, and that's why you end up getting an A.J. Brown, because the Tennessee Titans don't want to give a contract.
They didn't want to pay that
money,
yeah.
So Jeffrey Lurie, and that's something that Nick Sirianni talked about after the game, too, of like, I thank Jeffrey Lurie for cutting a $100 million check for A.J. Brown. When push comes to shove, Jeffrey Lurie is willing to spend his own money, and that guaranteed money to keep guys. And I think ultimately that's what will keep Devontae Smith here.
You have any idea, guys, offensively where they are in points scored in the NFL as far as a team?
I'd go with first.
Well, no, you know who's first.
I'd go with second.
No, they're fourth.
I'd go with third.
They're fourth, but that's all right.
I'd go with fourth.
Fourth
I was going to get there eventually.
They're seventh in defense now, though, points per game. That's amazing. I think the Sean Desai number, seventh, is ridiculous. It's coming together. It's coming together. And I hope that Brian Johnson follows suit and it comes together. And I don't care what the team, he was given the keys to a souped up race car. And too often it looks like a minivan to me.
So what did you say they were in points scored?
They're fourth in points scored.
So
they are 20.
Are we talking out of, not you, all of us,
No.
are we talking out of both sides of our mouth?
No, it's a point and a half less than last year. So it's not that big a deal. But they're fourth in points scored. And in defense, I mean, that's pretty impressive. Right now they're giving up 20.1 points per game. Anytime you're in the teens, you are like super excellent. That's where you are. You're absolutely killing it. So you got a good chance. Oh no, I'm sorry. It's a little further down than that. But 20 points, but they're a little further down than seventh. But 20.1 is ridiculous to me. I think 20 is great. I think it's a great number.
Yeah,
and they should be proud of that.
With this offense, 20 should be a number you're probably looking for, because this offense should be able to score 27 to 30 pretty much a
Every
night.
night.
Yeah. I mean, the offense, did it look great last night? No. It looked good.
Well, if Jalen doesn't gift them 10 points, that game is a complete blowout.
Yeah, and offensively, 31 points. I mean, you look at scores around the league like we all do every day. You know, we go through it, whether it's for fantasy or whatever it may be, looking to see what other teams do. To me, at least, if I see a team scoring 31, I go, ooh, that's a nice number.
Oh, yeah.
Last night, the Eagles put up
beautiful.
31, and I don't think we're all saying beautiful or awesome today. We're all like, yeah, they played good. You know, that's how this team is, I think at least, progressing. 31 was good last night. It wasn't phenomenal. It wasn't, oh, look at that, 31. It was good. It was a good game last night.
I'll tell you why 49 snaps is such an amazing number for the Eagles last night. Plus, we're going to look at it as far as there is one question that Nick Sirianni answered and that A.J. Brown talked about that has me concerned regarding Jalen Hurts. We'll get to it next. John Kincade Show here on 97.5 The Fanatic. Guys, if you're playing fantasy sports,
97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic, and we appreciate you getting in with us this morning on a joyous Monday. The party begins at 5:05 or 5:07. And then
I think it begins before that.
Yeah, it sort of feels like it, doesn't it? Everybody excited. Hopefully everybody taped their ankles and back on the bandwagon that jumped off Saturday morning. Come back on. You gave up on this team. I'm shocked. I'm shocked you doubted them. I was shocked anybody doubted them.
I didn't get the give up part. I got the pissed off, frustrated, gut reaction.
I heard
the
season's
fire Rob
over.
Thompson was great.
Season's over.
I didn't hear season over.
I heard it on this
stuff.
radio station. I heard it
I
from
didn't.
people. It was season's over. The bats went cold last year. They're going cold again. They have no answers. Unless they hit home runs, they can't win. And then they went out and hit home runs on Saturday night and won. It's pretty nice. Nick Sirianni talked after the game last night because we got another big win to talk about. The fantastic Eagles victory that they got. But there's an issue. Something's going on with Jalen Hurts. Now, we've all thought something potentially was going on with Jalen Hurts all year long because he wasn't scrambling. And he wasn't scrambling the way he scrambled last year. He's going through something, right? Nick Sirianni had Marcus Mariota warming up. Let's hear what he had to say.
You know what? Marcus might have just been throwing. I didn't even tell Marcus to warm up. I knew Jalen was coming back in the game. I don't know. Yeah, he might be getting an IV. He gets IVs sometimes at halftime. So sometimes when you don't get the ball to start the second half, you can finish the IV. It was pretty hot out there. I might need an IV next time. I think that's all that was about.
A.J. Brown says after the game, man, Jalen Hurts is really tough. I don't want to put his business out there, but just know he's a tough individual. Afterwards, too, Nick Sirianni says that you all saw that he's going through a little something, so he's tough. He's tough. He said if you want to know what's going on, you have to ask Jalen. So something's being kept secret now. He wore a brace in the second half last night that he hadn't been wearing. So do they think that the knee becomes a target? I'm trying to figure out why they won't just. Jordan Mailata talks about it. Nick Sirianni talks about everything, but they don't just tell us what's going on. Does he have a knee injury? Is he doing something? I mean, I don't know why it would be this big secret of don't know. You can ask him, but he's going through something. I don't understand.
I don't know. Maybe they don't. Maybe Jalen hasn't told them. I don't know. He had to scramble out to the left last night. I forget exactly when it was. I meant to write it down. But he had to scramble out to the left, and it looked like he was kind of gimpy on the scramble. And then a guy kind of flagged him down from behind and kind of half-tackled him out of bounds, and he even got up limping a little bit more. Yeah, there's something going on. Can you attribute it to, hey, everybody's a little nicked up after 6-7 games in the NFL? Maybe. Could it be something more? Could it be something?
Well, they're all alluding to it being something more.
I don't know if you can relate it, John, to the play of him this year to this injury. I don't know. But maybe you can because the question's been, brought up a lot of times. What's wrong with Jalen? Why isn't he the same quarterback that he was last year?
Slide immediately.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe there is something. I'm not going to pretend to have answers as to why or why they won't answer questions about it, but it's something to keep an eye on.
Let's check out what one of our jurors has to say. It ain't easy being cheesy. John Cheeseborough joins us right off the bat to give his thoughts. A lot of thoughts in the Eagles game, John. What are yours?
So one of the things I saw, and first off, good morning, everybody.
Good morning, buddy.
One of the things I saw was I love the fact that we actually got to see Dallas Goedert catch passes on something other than tight end screens. And it just annoyed me for all these weeks. You just see tight end screen 2 yards here. And one of the things that's getting on my nerves is Jamal Singleton must have this affection for Kenneth Gainwell. It's like, is he scared of Fletcher Cox coming and beating him up after a game is over because that's his cousin? I don't know. The other thing, defense, to shut out the Miami offense after halftime.
7 points they got on offense. They scored 7
points on offense and nothing in the second half. The defense is bailing the offense out of times. Love what I'm seeing, but, of course, they're not playing their best football. Lastly,
yes,
I'm just glad that we had real commentators this week and not the verbal equivalent to the butt fumble last week with Mark Sanchez. Crazy. But it ain't easy being cheesy.
Thank you, Johnny. Appreciate it. I heard Sanchez again yesterday. I think he might have been doing the Washington game or whatever. One of the games that I was checking in on.
If he was doing the Washington game, that's the perfect Mark Sanchez game right there. Washington and New York.
There was one game he was doing, might have been Seattle, because I'm watching some game, and Sanchez, maybe it was the Rams, because I'm watching my eliminator pool too, making sure that I won that with Seattle. Man, Sanchez is terrible. He's terrible on a game. He's just not. It's just not good. It really is not good. I think they had a good broadcast last night. NBC.
Did they? Yeah.
You don't even pay attention to it.
I'm sitting here racking my brain. Like, do I remember anything that was said or not said during
nobody
the
was
game last night?
about.
I'm not being snotty or
that's a sign
snippet.
of a good
I just
broadcast.
don't. Yeah, I just don't. And I'm not saying I'm right. God, I'm not saying I'm right, because it's a good talking point. And you guys saying, "Oh, I like this guy. I love this guy." Except for the locals, yeah, I do. It's weird that I do this. I want to sit with you and watch a game one time, John.
Absolutely.
I do. I want to sit with you, and I want you to sit there and did you hear that? Did you hear that? I want you to keep reminding me to listen to the announcers, because I'm just horrible at it.
I write it down when they say something. I write it down.
I
put it in my notes.
I don't think you're bad at it necessarily, but I think that because you can't think of anything that stood out to you, it really is a sign of a good broadcast.
It's like
most
an
of the
offensive
time,
lineman.
Yeah, most of the time with these broadcasts, something that is said is usually we roll our eyes at and sticks out because it's stupid. It's rarely that something sticks out and we're like, man, what an incredible point. Especially localized guys like the T-Max or the Tom McGinnis of the world. Like, we're used to them, so we enjoy listening to them. The national guys, we really don't. We're not familiar with them as much, so we're kind of looking for the warts a little bit. And when you have a game where we're sitting here 12 hours later going, I don't really remember much what he said, I think it's a sign of a good broadcast.
I'll tell you what did stick out to me this weekend in a broadcast, national broadcast.
I think you might say that I'm gonna tell Pat something in his ear.
Okay.
Turn your head for a second.
Did he tell me to cough too? It was a national announcers, and it was the Phillies game, and it was on Friday night. And it was the way a fly ball to the outfield hit by the Diamondbacks was, oh, my God, look at this, a long drive, deep center field. And then JT Realmuto hits a ball, fly ball, left field, out by 20 yards. Is that what you said?
Exact same thing I said in Pat's ear. Because to me, I had someone tell me yesterday that I was being nitpicky. But I think Brian Anderson, overall, he overreacts to every fly ball. Every fly ball,
yeah, but he didn't like to Realmuto's. It was funny. You're exactly right.
It was like, oh my gosh.
And then Realmuto, fly ball, left field. It's going,
and then it was like late that he got in on it.
We were watching it over a friend's house. As soon as the ball came off the bat, we all stood up.
Right.
And this guy's going fly ball, left field. When in every other case, you see Rojas just coasting to catch it, and he's screaming and hollering like it's hit 600 feet.
Well, congratulations to John. He wins a digital copy of John Carter, the 2012 Disney movie.
I knew it.
Yep, a Civil War vet discovers a barren planet seemingly inhabited by 12-foot barbarians. Now on digital and Blu-ray.
I had the same thought, though. So it was horrible. So that tells me that you're feeling it too.
Yeah, I tweeted about it.
It's so overreactive.
He had no depth perception. And I don't know where the booth was. And I always point this out to people usually when I'm selling my tickets, because my tickets are in the 400 level. And one of the perks I think of sitting where I do is you don't think every fly ball is a home run.
Correct.
I feel like when you're lower and you're closer to home plate, every fly ball is, that's gone, right? But when you're up high, your depth perception's a little bit better. I don't know where the booth was, but yeah, every fly ball to center.
Oh my gosh.
It was
overreacting.
Yeah, and then it was Rojas just casually going under it and just catching it.
I used to have to do, for 2 years, I did Braves spring training games because we were the flagship station of the Braves, and there were games where the broadcasters didn't want to come down and do it. So they gave it to Buck and I, and we did it. And it was the hardest thing, the most anxious I ever felt in my life doing anything. And the great Don Sutton, Hall of Famer, said, as a play-by-play man, I make a great talk show host. Because he said, just chill, John. No, everybody listening on the radio isn't watching. He said, so just watch the outfielders immediately, watch how they break, and don't feel the need to, get too excited. You don't have to rush to make the call.
No.
It can be very casual, but it wasn't. 7 a.m. hour brought to you by the all-new Bet Parks app. Sportsbook and casino in one sleek, easy-to-use app in Pennsylvania and New Jersey. Got the snap counts on offense, by the way. 72 snaps on offense, 49 on defense. 40 freaking 9. And that's Mike McDaniels, who has reinvented football, in case you haven't read all the stuff this year. 49 snaps on defense, one of the best performances of the year. And by the way, Slay and Bradbury, Slay was that 3rd and 18. I really did think that may end up that at that point when that play, which ended up really keeping a drive alive, that 3rd and 18 was a terrible play, but then he made up for it. Got the turnover, and he played 100% of the snaps.
Yeah.
Him and Bradbury, 100%. Sidney Brown, 94% of the snaps. Cunningham, 100% of the snaps. Edmonds, free safety, 100% of the snaps for guys that are being put in there. Hassan Reddick, 76%. Sweat, 78%. Fletcher Cox, 76%. Nakobe Dean, 61%. And we've been waiting to see that. But an amazing Jordan Davis, 57%. One of his higher numbers. So this is good. This is good. It was a good night. 49 snaps. They were well rested too.
Yeah, I love just the way the defense played last night. And it really does go to coaching to me. You brought up a great point, John, that 3rd and 18 play, they get it or whatever. If you watch the defense after that, it's not shoulders down, it's not heads down. It's get up, run back to the huddle, because you know Miami is so fast that they're going to try to take advantage of that. They were so well coached, that defense last night. I really think so. The way Hassan Reddick stayed in his place, how he didn't over-pursue, made great defensive plays without sacks. I mean, we're not going to say that a lot of times. If we said before the game, who's your big play guy tonight, and if you said Hassan Reddick, like Pat may have or I may have, it's because you thought he was going to get sacks or you needed him to get sacks. He was fantastic last night without any sacks.
Well, I got to give credit to the offense.
You mean the keeping away?
Yeah. And we talked about this on the pregame show a lot of, like, if you want to.
My number one key, right, Pat?
Yeah, to beat the Dolphins was playing kind of keep away ball and doing a little bit of what the Commanders did to you last season. You know, keeping your offense off the field. And that frustrates your offense so much. So when they finally do get on the field, they might press a little bit. But the Dolphins' 23 minutes and 17 seconds of possession time was the lowest of the season so far.
Yep. You know, yesterday we bring up points and all that, and Pat disagrees with me a lot, and he lets it be known to our listeners that he disagrees.
I just do that to tweet.
The reason I just brought up like that was my number one key last night was because it was, but Pat agreed with me. And as soon as I said it, my number one key was TOP, time of possession. You have to hold the ball. Pat was overly in agreement with me, and that just gave me, made me feel good that maybe I was onto something.
You were onto something.
The fact that you were on the time of possession last night at the pregame, it validified anything that I had to say.
If you open the book, we're on the same page, Bobby.
Sometimes. But yeah, it was. I thought it was really a really well coached game. I want to say we nitpick about Brian Johnson and different things especially with Kenny.
Do you think
Gainwell.
it's nitpicking at this point?
Would you say they were in scoring in the league? 4th?
Yeah, they're 4th. But I mean,
I'll tell you now, I don't think it's nitpicking.
I don't think it's nitpicking.
I'm trying to look for it to be nitpicking, but I can't find it.
How about this? 7 games into the year, Bob, I'm going to tell you right now. 7 games in, you have Jake Elliott has 4 less attempts at a field goal than he had all last regular season. In 7 games, he has 4 less than he had in 17 games last year. That's red zone. That's red zone offense collapsing.
Yeah, it's funny when a guy's not used properly, maybe not in the game as much, or, hey, why isn't Devontae Smith getting the ball as much that way? That seems to be a more valid argument than why is he getting the ball so much? Right now, the argument is, why is Kenny Gainwell getting the ball? Now, it's not a lot. 6, 7 carries a game? But it's the way they're doing it. It's not, change of pace, what Pat says. Yeah, he's exactly right. Kenny Gainwell should be getting the ball 6, 7 times a game, but not the way he's getting it. Not the, I'm forcing him down your throat type of way that they're doing it right now. I just don't agree with it.
If it's first down on your own 40, hand the ball off to Kenny Gainwell.
I'm okay with that.
No
exactly.
problem.
I'm okay with that.
When you get in the red zone and it's crappy design quarterback run handing the ball off to Kenny Gainwell, and then handing the ball off to Kenny Gainwell. Like, what are we doing? You know, you've got an offense with A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, DeAndre Swift, who's gotten more involved in the pass game as the weeks have gone on.
About time.
And you're handing the ball off to your backup running back. It's not nitpicking. It's. I hear that, and the stat that John threw out of their fourth offense, and I go, if they didn't hand the ball off to Kenny Gainwell, they'd be first
in points. Yeah,
yeah. Like it's kind of maddening to watch every single week this affinity for Kenny Gainwell, and I really do think that when Kenny Gainwell scored that touchdown, Brian Johnson said, "Yeah, all right, I've solidified in my thinking here."
Can I give you something where the Eagles are better this year than they were last year on offense? Because it adds to this conversation. They're number one in the NFL with 34 minutes and 25 seconds of average time of possession. Number one. Their last three games, 35-07, 36-43, and 34-12. They're averaging over 35 the last three games. That's really, when you have that 10 more minutes, that's fourth quarter, wear down the opposing defense.
Yeah.
And so, by the way, got to give Brian Johnson credit on that because I want to, keep things evaluated balanced. They are averaging 3 more minutes in time of possession this year than last year. Now, they scored a lot last year. So you can also put that in there.
Sure. Quick scores and all last year.
Everything.
They were a high-scoring team, yeah.
Now, Tim McManus joined the postgame show last night afterwards with Connor and Tom, and this is what he had to say about Sean Desai. And, boy, he had some praise to hand out.
Sean Desai, in a short amount of time here in Philadelphia, I think has distinguished himself very well. As we know, the back end, safety position in particular, has gone through a rash of injuries. Here, there was plenty of, doubts, including on my part, whether they would be able to sustain that attack, given that they were shorthanded. And they really rose to the occasion. I mean, you look at Darius Slay and the play that he made, the way that the defensive line was able to dominate. I don't know how you don't walk out of here first thinking about the defense and what they were able to accomplish.
I can't get past it. I can't get past it. This defense is growing and improving. Now, he had some nice toys added to it, but he's also been missing substantial parts, as the Dolphins were last night. They're missing their guys.
Yeah.
But it's the same guys that you knew they were going to be missing, and both teams are missing guys, and one team knew how to plug holes and had the depth to handle it or to scheme it, and one team, Mike McDaniels and his team, couldn't figure it out. It's the way it works. Hey, let's check out one of our jurors. Andrea joins us. All right, Andrea, let's get to it. I want your hand on that Bible, though. Come on. You happy this morning?
All right. Okay. Well, first of all, good morning, guys. How you doing?
Good morning.
Good. So first thing I want to say is I was very happy to see that second half because I have not seen those guys play like that all season, in my opinion. I was very happy to see that second half. I'm also happy because I did not know what we were going to do when we lost Zach Ertz. But Dallas Goedert is amazing. He's got good hands. He's a great ball catcher. I really, really like what he's doing. And the fact that we had 0 penalties last night is just amazing. I think we really stepped up in the second half, and we really pulled it out. I was a little nervous when Jake went to kick a field goal. I've never been that way, so that was kind of weird. But aside from that, we did good.
I can't believe that they had no penalties.
Me either.
Because I really don't believe that they had no penalties.
Yeah.
No.
I don't believe a team could play a whole game and have no penalties. And I've seen it screw the Eagles over in the past.
Well, they should have had a face mask. That was blatant.
I was blatant.
Yeah, that was pretty blatant.
I think the face mask was absolutely blatant.
Yeah.
But look, the Eagles got screwed on a couple of them. Good job, Andrea.
Thanks, Andrea.
I didn't think the refereeing was good both ways last night.
Yeah, I thought it really wasn't.
They had the phantom offsides call in the first push.
When it was Kelsey's hand.
Yeah, it was just like, I didn't think it was a great crew. Doesn't matter that they won, but yeah, I thought both sides kind of sucked.
Yeah, if you're Miami, I'm sure you're doing a little more bitching. This morning, 10 penalties on them, nothing against the Eagles.
That to me is honestly, it's absolutely ridiculous that somebody would play. You'd think you could play an NFL game and not have a penalty. And yes, but they miss calls like that face mask. They miss that all the time. Every game you can point to once or twice where somebody goes, "Oh, come on, they missed that one." That one just seems so obvious to me. And Miami scored afterwards, so it doesn't matter.
No, yes.
They scored a touchdown afterwards, so it didn't end up costing them. Let's put it that way.
You know, I'm all for not calling the incidental stuff. Like, as your body's going and you try to turn, your hand's going to come up because what do you turn with? You turn with your hips and your shoulders. So when you turn with your shoulders, your arm has to follow. So I was thinking, okay, maybe they thought it was just an incidental, hit him in the face mask, don't call it. And then the more I watched, I was like, nah, they probably just missed that one.
And they did. They just missed it.
But, hey, if the Eagles are going to get 10 penalties, we're going to sit here and bitch and moan, rightfully so, that, oh, my God, why are they so undisciplined? Why aren't they doing maybe we need to give them a shout-out. Well, you didn't get caught for anything, so good for you.
Impressive.
So instead of blaming the refs, like, oh, I can't believe they didn't call anything, no, I'm going to give the Eagles a tip of the golf cap and say, way to go. Way to get no penalties. I'm all for it. Good on you.
Hey, every Football Monday on The Fanatic is presented by Pierce Phelps Bryant Heating and Air Conditioning Contractors. Visit nopaybryant.com for flexible spending options on a new heating and cooling system. We'll get to Michael and more, but let me tell you this. First off, you realize this? We're talking birds at 6-1, and in a matter of 10 hours, we're all going to be hanging on the first pitch of a night when Aaron Nola gets to make a major statement. We'll get to that next. John Kincade Show here on 97.
morning really bad. And this was before you were here, and I left my house probably like 11 o'clock and came in and
Just
slept
to
on
come
the
in
couch.
and sleep on the couch.
Oh, I didn't want to get caught. Yeah.
How bad was it when you got here? Like,
no, I left
by the
before
morning?
it started. It got, like it was going to be dicey, so made the right call. I could sleep anywhere, to tell you the truth. It drives my wife crazy. Like, if we're going to Charlotte to see my son in a couple of weeks, and she's going crazy about it. I said, I'll sleep on the couch. You guys can do whatever you want. Like, we can.
And you sleep on a plane, right? Can you or not? No?
Not good at sleeping on a plane. I don't do two things on a plane. I don't drink, and I don't sleep.
Right.
Yeah, I used to. Like, back in the days when I was flying 100 times a year, like, yeah, you had to find sleep wherever you could, so a plane was as good a place as any. But no, not now. I don't sleep on a plane.
The injury situation for Jalen Hurts, our jurors are checking in. Is the injury situation something we're going to be talking about later in the week? Nick Sirianni wouldn't commit to not talking about it later in the week, but he said ask Jalen, and Jalen kept things really short, as you heard in Pat's update. Michael and Yardley has held on with us, talking about a big shout-out last night to somebody we've been praising this morning. Good morning, Michael.
Good morning, guys. Good morning, Bob. Good morning, everybody.
Michael, how are you, buddy?
I'm feeling awesome on this Victory Monday.
Love it.
I want to do a big shout-out to Sean Desai. Strapped with all the injuries that he had to deal with, his game plan was incredible. Like, Miami loves to flood the field with some concepts, mid, low, high. We ran zone blitzes towards them. We ran trap coverage with our corners. They sat at like 5'7". Sometimes they would press the flats on the snap of the ball. Sometimes they would sag off. It threw Tua off. We almost got an interception off of that, and I feel like that affected him the rest of the game. Now, that being said, I think that the wealth of talent that we have on offense is hindering Brian Johnson's play.
Explain this. I don't understand this. Too many toys?
Too many toys. Because listen, Sean Desai, he has all his toys taken away. He has to be creative. He has to he has to come up with a plan that's going to work. Look at the other side of the ball. I don't know if you know this, John. We opened up the game with the same run play, ran to the left and then ran to the right.
You know what? I did not notice that.
You had all week the game plan, and you decided to run the same play 2 times in a row?
Well, his red zone runs are driving me nuts.
John, tell me that you did not say, this is a QB draw.
Oh, it
is. Came out and empty.
No, I did. And I'm tired of empty, by the way. I'm tired of empty. I'm tired of empty backfields with this team. I think it just absolutely just, it tells you what they're doing.
When you have a back as powerful and as good as Swift, and you have a tight end as dominant as Dallas Goedert, why are you not running 11 personnel with a back in the backfield and tight end right there with Jalen Hurts' running ability?
I hate the empty backfields.
And if you do know Jalen is dealing with something, why are you running him? Why not let him throw to AJ like we did later in the game, and he can break a couple tackles and score in the red zone? I think that if you have an offensive coordinator who's trying to learn, he's going to be watching film of Kansas City. He's going to be watching film of Dallas from last year. He's going to be coming up with an enduring ways to get the playmakers the ball, and I just don't see that on a week-to-week basis.
So, Michael, real quick, John, before we let me ask you this: how would you? And I want to put this out there, all the callers, pretty much. And John, how would you pose the question to Nick Sirianni or Brian Johnson to ask, why don't you throw it in the end zone? Now,
why? I can't figure it out.
So
I haven't heard the question asked.
You can't put it like that. Like, why don't you throw it in the end zone? They'll say, oh, well, there's different looks.
They're going to play it off.
Yeah, right? So I don't know. And, Michael, that's great stuff that you brought up.
Really good call, Michael.
How do you ask it?
I think what you ask it is there unlike last year, unlike the 2 previous years, there seems to be a reluctance to throw the ball into the end zone to try to score while in the red zone. Is that by design? And
you gave me the out in your question.
I can't tell you that.
You ready?
It's a game plan.
No. Oh. Here's the out. Oh no, we didn't throw a lot in the end zone last year either, but we had success scoring. We played to our ability, like you said it.
Right.
But you gave them the out. They didn't do it a lot last year.
But they did do it more than they're doing it this year.
Oh, my God.
And it's terrible.
But last year is what brought it to my mind and why I brought out the stat that I did a couple of weeks ago, that they rarely throw the ball into the end zone. Last
And now
night
I watch for it every single game, by the way.
Yeah, so
Thanks,
do I.
Bob.
It's like in the back of my mind.
Thanks,
Somebody
Bob.
came up to me and said that too. Like, you jerk, what did you bring that up for? But last night was a perfect example. It was almost like they got in the red zone and Brian Johnson was like, I got to go to the bathroom. And boom, ran away. And you go run, run, run.
That third and 8 draw, it was terrible.
Are you kidding me? That they're not good in the red zone. Not good at all.
Let's go to one of our jurors. Karen B's checking in. Hand on the Bible, lady. What you got?
It is, John. Good morning, everybody. Hey, John, they ran the damn ball.
They did. They ran it a significant amount of time, and I was very happy with that.
Yeah, I was too. I wrote down that I was really happy. I thought they had a really balanced attack this time. You know, where it rushes to passes. I thought it was very, very, very balanced. Swift, his running, he found holes where there weren't any at all. Which brings me to the point of, why did you put in Kenny Gainwell at that point? I mean, we're at the red zone, and why not just give it to Swift, punch it in? Nope, we got to get Kenny involved.
They love him. They love Kenny Gainwell.
I know, but you know what? It's like when your kids are little and you tell them, don't touch, they're outsmart. Don't touch that.
Right.
They look at you, they give you that little look. They're going to do it anyway, and they know the consequences. They're going to get in trouble. And I feel like our offensive coordinator is just, we got to do it. We got to do it no matter what happens. That it's just stupid.
I think the head coach, and Karen, good job today. I think the head coach is not, unless he's getting too involved. Pat, that may be it. He may be more involved because the offense sort of looks more, especially in the red zone, looks more like when Nick Sirianni was calling plays.
I talked a little bit about it yesterday during our pregame show of like the too many cooks in the kitchen thing. And if you have Nick Sirianni, who after, it wasn't long, but 6 weeks into his coaching tenure, realized that his play calling wasn't working. You have that guy pick the play call sheet back up. What gives me faith that all of a sudden it's fixed? I don't really have a lot.
I didn't see him with it last night.
No, neither did I. But
I didn't see him with the play sheet last night.
No, I haven't.
And I was looking for, and I was looking for it.
Yeah,
I was looking for it, Pat.
Yeah, I just wonder, like, who's calling these plays, and if they have a clue of what they're doing. And when it comes to red zone offense, now
that's fair.
They have a clue, right?
Sure.
They have an idea. They're in the NFL, but is it an offense that's so easily able to figure out from an opposing defensive coordinator? And when you get in the red zone and I hear Kenny Gainwell checking in,
oh boy,
immediately,
and you know what's coming.
It's too predictable. The red zone offense is way too predictable right now.
All right, one more. Brian in Dallas joins us on the Fanatic. Brian, good morning.
What's up, fellas?
What's up, buddy?
What's up? Hey, I just want to chime in right. I mean, you guys are right on point about the play calling, man. I wish Sirianni would just go out and get some guys with experience calling plays, because I don't care who's calling plays. Yesterday, all you had to do is look across the field and watch creativity in the offense. I mean, Miami lost, yes, but their play calling, right? There was a lot of creativity. You're sitting there like that medical on the pick six from Jalen Hurts, right? They are blitzed in the slot corner and safety, right? Football one-on-one is when you blitz your out route and you go to the space where the guy's blitzing from. That pick six, we ran a deep out route, nobody in the middle, right? Hurts had nowhere to go with the ball. Not taking the blame away from him. It's like, as a play caller, you got to be looking at this. Like, why are we running a 50-yard out? My slot corner is coming right down to my quarterback's face. That makes no sense.
It didn't at all.
Go ahead. Yeah, it's like, and then, like, the run plays, right? The running plays, we ran the ball. But you have to make, even on Gainwell's touchdown, we're scoring an effort, second effort from our back. It's not like they're going where the play is designed, because there's nothing there. It's like second effort. Like that run by Kenny Gainwell was the one masterful run he had all year, because he was stopped twice.
Yeah, it was not. It was not good, Brian.
It's funny. Brian says, look at the creativity the Dolphins had. And he's right. Eagles scored 31. The Dolphins scored 7 on offense. I mean, if I'm going to be go against Brian there, okay. shove the creativity up your ass. We scored 31 points.
That's a little rough.
I'm not saying it to Brian. What I'm saying is, to the people out there that are saying, oh, my God, they scored 31. It doesn't matter how they did it. They did it.
It does.
You're right also. Yeah, maybe nitpicky, whatever you want to call it. Okay. Yeah, the Eagles' offense was fine. I think their defense was better, but the Eagles' offense was fine. Can it be better? Yeah, I think it can be.
Yeah, but we keep saying that every week. If it wasn't week 7 and we're saying it again, the offense has got to get better. The red zone offense has got to get better. We keep saying it. We keep kicking the can down. We're almost to November.
Well, let's not forget, there was a really great play to Dallas Goedert, I thought, for the touchdown.
Yeah, beautiful
That was cool. You did score on a run with Kenny Gainwell. Like it or not, he got you the yards that you needed. It saved a hit for DeAndre Swift. You scored another touchdown with A.J. Brown in the red zone, a 14-yard touchdown pass. As much as we can nitpick, we can't forget about the good things, too.
That's the truth. Hey, E-Rock, one of our jurors is on the line, and we know E-Rock. And you were enjoying the festivities yesterday.
Oh, absolutely.
He was there at 9 o'clock.
It had to be there at 9 o'clock. They shut the parking lots down just as quick as they opened them back up. There was lines around the block. But the Eagles haters must be sick to their stomachs right now to come to find out that the Eagles are not the frauds that they hoped they were when they lost against the Jets. I knew this Eagles team was going to be just fine. After Nick Sirianni didn't have to go in the locker room and say boo because the Eagles leaders, the teammates, the players took over and sent their message out. Listen, we can throw our flowers at Sean Desai, and he deserves it, but at the end of the day, it was up to that defense and those players to make those plays. That Miami team is quick. They are, to see them in person, I lost track of the ball 4 or 5 times, but the Eagles defense did a phenomenal job, and overall, I think this was a statement to the rest of the league that, listen, we might have had a bad game against the Jets, but it doesn't matter if Jalen's a little dinged up, Lane Johnson's a little dinged up. We got weapons coming in, and damn, it feels good to come away with a Kelly Green win last night.
Tell me you're going to be at the Commanders game.
Oh, you know this.
Okay, I wish I could be there. I had such fun last year. You cannot have Sam Howell do what he did last time. We'll talk about this later in the week, but you can't have Sam Howell look. Sam Howell looked like crap yesterday against the Giants defense. We got to take care of him.
We understand the mission, and we will be loud for you.
There you go, buddy. Thanks, E-Rock. Love you, buddy.
I was amazed at him yesterday. I'm making breakfast for the kids and all that stuff, and I look at my phone and I see E-Rock post a video of cars down there, and I'm like, my God.
He's
so I
already there.
I text him. I'm like, what time did you get there? He's like, 9 o'clock.
Yep.
9 o'clock for an 8 o'clock game. That's very,
the man has
very
a job to do.
Impressive.
And he visited at least 5 tailgates where they were.
He does it well.
Partying with people that were partying about the Phillies.
Yeah,
which was cool too.
I walked over to a friend's tailgate because I got there really early yesterday, and I was walking back to Xfinity from my friend's tailgate, and that's when I saw E-Rock for the first time.
Yeah,
like he's all over the place.
I'm going to suggest that something, and to the fine people at the Eagles, you know how they have the in-house like cheer fest, not what Spud does, not what Dave Spadaro does. But where they have the in-house person who sort of tells you about the giveaways and things like that and hypes things up. Yeah. E-Rock should be that guy.
Maybe he doesn't want to be that guy.
He should be. I bet he
doesn't want to.
I will bet he hasn't been offered it. And I think he should be that guy.
I mean, he would be perfect for that role.
He'd be amazing in that role.
But, I think that role it might not be as glamorous as it seems.
Oh, it isn't.
I wonder how much you're able to actually watch the game as opposed to the perks of the job, which is you get a free hoodie.
That's unbelievable. It is wild to think about tonight. We've got a chance to go to the go to the World Series, capture a second consecutive NLCS. But Pat Egan sends me a note yesterday and says, "I know who I want them to play," and I got to tell you, it's Monday morning, and I don't have that answer. We'll hear Bob's answer and mine coming up if we have to force to answer it, but let's hear what Pat has to say.
This is Pat's point of view. Here's Pat.
Hi, guys.
What's up, buddy?
Happy Monday.
You too.
We got Game 7 tonight, ALCS. Got Game 6, more importantly, the NLCS, but hopefully the Phillies have already clinched it up, and then they can just go back to the clubhouse and watch the ending of the ALCS and figure out their opponent. Rangers, Astros, really good series. It's kind of going back and forth. It looked like for a while there the Astros were dead in the water. Rangers jump out to a 2-0 lead. Astros end up rattling off 3 straight, and Texas ended up forcing a Game 7 last night. And all series long, it's been a question of, like, who would you rather face? Would you rather face Texas? Would you rather face Houston? Houston, obviously, the team you lost to last year. They have the pedigree. Texas, a cute little upstart. I finally got my answer the other day while watching the Phillies game. And
so it came to you watching the Phillies?
It came to me during the Phillies game,
okay.
Yeah. I'd rather face Texas. Because
why? Because you're not going to have home field.
You're not, and I recognize that. And that was my going back and forth. That was my one thing keeping Houston in the conversation was the home field advantage part. So it just boils down to your top 3 starters, really. Texas going with Nate Eovaldi, Max Scherzer, Jordan Montgomery. Okay, so they're good, not exactly world beaters, but they're good. Especially with Max Scherzer, he's not good in October. But Nate Eovaldi and Jordan Montgomery have been on tears.
They've been on a tear.
On the flip side, if you go to the Astros, Framber Valdez, who's one of the best in baseball, Justin Verlander, who's ticketed for Cooperstown, and Christian Javier, who, by the way, last year no-hit you. And he's got no-hit stuff.
I remember.
And his ball moves, all over the place, right? If you have to go to a bullpen game, both teams kind of have. Andrew Heaney for the Texas Rangers is going for them. And then you've got Jose Urquidy going for the Houston Astros. I like Urquidy more than I like Andrew Heaney. It just boils down to I like the Texas Rangers pitching staff against the Phillies more than I'd like the Phillies to face the Houston Astros pitching staff. And I'm willing to give up home field advantage for that. But I'm thinking it while watching Ranger Suarez getting pulled and Christopher Sanchez getting pulled. And it's if you had to go to a bullpen game, and they probably would have to at some point. And by bullpen game, I just mean, Rob Thompson having a little bit of a quick hook on guys like Ranger Suarez and
he didn't
Christopher
do that.
Sanchez. Yeah.
No.
But if you have to, I'd rather face the Texas Rangers than the Houston Astros.
Even though you've lost 12 straight to them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm more scared of the Houston Astros pitching rotation than I am the Texas Rangers. And the 12 straight is a lot. That's a lot of regular season games, though. And the postseason is different. So,
and it's not all the 12 games isn't all these players.
No,
no,
it's not. But, I mean, the thought of going to a bullpen game against Houston, we saw what Houston's bullpen was able to do to you last year, where you got to their bullpen and it was all right, if you're down by 2, you're done. I mean, it was that dominant of a bullpen where you were lucky if you scored 1 run off of them because they just shut offenses down. Don't want to face that again. And home field be damned. Give me the easier opponent. And maybe I'm being naive, and in a week and now I'm going to look back and curse myself while listening to this. But, yeah, right now, give me the Texas Rangers over the Houston Astros.
I'll join you. I'll join you in that boat.
All right, we got 2, Bobby. Make it 3. Bobby?
Trifecta? Bob, you usually like the starting on the road one and having to win one.
I go back and forth on this. And I had this discussion yesterday morning with a buddy who called me. I don't know. Do I like the home? God, would we all love 4 games if needed here at Citizens Bank Park?
Yes.
And you have to win a game 6 or 7? Absolutely. Do I love the fact? I think, how should I phrase this? I think it's easier to go on the road and win one of the first 2 than it is to win both at home. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
okay, I got you.
I kind of like the Phillies starting on the road in that case. And you said it. You said it well, Pat. Texas is an up-and-coming kind of team. They're not used to it. They don't know what to expect. The Phillies do. So big advantage, Phillies. Houston's been there, done that. They know it, and they've done it against the Phillies.
A bunch of years in a row, too.
So I'm going to agree with you guys.
All right, we're going
so
Texas.
Let's make it 3 for 3.
We're rooting for Dallas tonight.
Yeah.
Wait a
minute. There's been one team that has kind of handled the Philadelphia crowd, and by handled I mean they quieted them, and that was the Houston Astros. And I was at the game when they got no hit. It wasn't for lack of trying. Philly tried to get into Christian Javier's head and rattle the Astros. They weren't rattled by it. It's not like I'm terrified of the Astros, or I think that if the Phillies and Astros were to meet up, it's not like I'm going, oh, well, good season. But if I'm looking at an easier opponent, I lean more towards Texas than I do Houston.
I think it's fair. I think it's I like it. So we're all Texas.
All Texas, all the time.
Big Rangers fan.
What would suck about it is being up 3-2 going to Texas and not having those games here. You were up 2-1 in the World Series last year. And then you scored 3 runs in the last 3 games. And you were no hit in one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would.
Everything went crappy.
Suck.
Like
yeah,
that's
not being able to clinch at home.
Yeah, I sort of weird about do you want to see them win a World Series? I mean, you want to see them win a World Series anyway.
Yeah, any way that gets us to a parade is cool.
And Texas doesn't look like they're very good at home. And the fact that Houston went in there when they were up 2-0 and they couldn't win a game.
Well, and I think too, a lot of teams at this point come into Philadelphia in the playoffs and they think, oh, we'll be able to handle it. We'll be able to handle that atmosphere because they've heard it.
Sure.
They've heard about it.
They've heard all about it. They're probably tired of hearing about it.
Houston actually knows what it's like. So if there's a team that could probably handle it, it probably would be them. Whereas Texas is probably telling themselves, yeah, okay, we hear it's loud. It's okay. We've played in loud places before, and they haven't. You know, and it's a different beast coming into CBP. But the Astros, they really do. They really know what it's like.
What if I told you? Do you know this number? That they're 7-0 on the road in the postseason.
Texas or Houston?
Texas.
That's cool. That's 7-0 against teams.
They won 2 at Tampa. Swept that series. They won the first 2 in Baltimore.
Yeah, Baltimore
and ended up sweeping that series.
Baltimore's a raucous atmosphere.
And then they won every game at Houston.
Doesn't worry me so much. I mean, you know, Tampa Bay, they don't have any kind of field at all.
Baltimore was pretty good, but it wasn't crazy.
Baltimore's good, but it's a best of 3. Astros, yeah, that's good. I mean, those are good
7-0,
wins.
it's good, but it does show you too is that their record at home, they're 1-3 at home in the postseason, and losing 3 in a row. When you start out a series 2-0 and you lose 3 games in a row at home, that tells me something about you. It makes me doubt you that it's not like that the Phillies can't go there and win 2 out of 3 if they had to or want to.
You know what's even better? Arizona's 0-2 in Philadelphia.
Well, everybody's 0 in Philadelphia right now.
But that's your next opponent. We got tonight.
Tonight's the night.
It's funny. I love looking ahead, too, but I do.
You
I have
never
to catch,
do, though. That's weird.
No, I catch myself. That was my point. Before it comes out of my mouth, I catch my brain and say, whoa, back up here.
Back up and pump the brakes.
Back up. Yeah, who do I want? Texas, Houston? I want Arizona tonight. And I want them to get their asses kicked tonight. And I want to see some champagne flowing tonight because as much fun as it is to watch this Phillies team play, it's more fun to watch them pop the champagne corks because they're really good at that. And somebody should put a little pool, bring your little kid pool in the outfield so that Stubbs can run out there and jump in it. I think they should put one on the field when the game gets over tonight.
Hey, Dante and other jurors are going to check in as we continue to get a ruling on yesterday's dramatic Eagles victory in prime time, which was absolutely awesome. We'll get to that. Plus, there's a food item that I want to try. Will the guys try it with me?
Escarole.
No, I'll tell you about it next. John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Hey, you know what you need to do?
7-5, The Fanatic. Now, back to the John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
John Kincade Show on The Fanatic. Your Birds won last night. They got the best record in the NFL. Your Phillies can punch their ticket to the World Series tonight. It sounds incredible because it isn't normal. It hasn't been normal. It's so exciting to think of what goes down tonight. The Phillies maybe clinching their second consecutive National League championship and, more importantly, getting a chance at redemption for last year.
So how do you handle a 5 o'clock potential game clincher on a Monday? Now, if it was a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we're all probably having parties, whatever. My wife asked me out on a date tonight, said, you want to go watch the game, like two
that?
of us? And I said,
Is
yeah,
she
that'd
buying?
be great. Huh?
She buying?
Probably with my money, yeah.
Not a date.
And then she gives me the old a half hour later, Pat, I didn't tell you this. Oh, I forgot I invited my mom to come over and watch the game with us. I got
a lot of love for Donna, so I'll keep my comments to off air to you.
Well, here's my
think that's
question
right,
to you
though.
guys. I don't think she's listening yet. She may be, but I don't care. She needs to hear this. Can her mom stay home and watch the game at my house with my children?
It sounds like a better offer was waiting. Honestly, that's how I would take it. Is if I was the person giving the invitation.
No, she said she's coming, so she's going to be there.
Yeah, but that to me still sounds like
But can I say to my wife, all right, you asked me out on a date, but you forgot you asked your mom. Your mom's coming. Why can't we still go out and watch the game?
Who'd she ask first? Who did she ask first? Did the date with you or her mother?
Oh, her mother. Very good point, John. She did ask her mother
That's
first.
bad.
She forgot about it.
And Donna forgot about it, and God knows I'm dealing with that right now. I can absolutely know it.
So
It
I
happens.
got, how many kids will be there? 2, maybe 3 kids will be there for the start of the game
Then
tonight.
they hang out with Grandma then.
Right?
Yes. Come on.
All right, what do you think, Pat? Would that be rude? Grandmom comes up to watch a game and we bolt?
No.
No, it wouldn't be. Not if
I don't think so.
She loves her grandchildren, right?
Yeah,
I don't know.
like
I've lost.
woman's got options. I don't know why you have to be. No, I don't want to step in it right now, but no, I
We're
don't
gonna
think
be
that's
careful.
You can. It's all right.
No, it's not all right.
Nobody's listening, Pat.
Because I don't want her storming up to me the next time I see her, and I'm like, Donna, and she gives me a dirty look. So, but I don't think it's right. No.
Okay.
I asked a question earlier about a food item. Would you try it? Acme has a new rotisserie chicken. Did you read this? Pat?
Have not seen this news now.
Salted caramel rotisserie chicken.
No.
You're out?
I mean, I don't like.
You wouldn't try it?
I don't like caramel anyway, so no. But even if I did, I probably would try it. But I don't like caramel.
I would absolutely love it. I absolutely want the folks at Acme. I want to try the salted caramel rotisserie chicken. I think it sounds amazing.
It's interesting.
And they have root beer too.
I don't like root beer. I'm not a root beer guy.
I'm not a root beer either. But they have a root beer one.
I would try
too.
that one.
You would try that one.
Oh, absolutely. Let's go right now.
So they rolled it out in South Philly. So I'm going to tell you right now, I would absolutely try it. Acme, I want to try the salted caramel rotisserie chicken.
All right. Well, we're gonna.
I think it sounds awesome.
Is it only the South Philly one that has them, or is it all?
I don't
Acme's?
know. I mean, I got to check and see. And that people were like, "Wow, is this real?" And say, "Yeah, they're trying the salted caramel. Sounds amazing to me."
Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
I'll try. It doesn't suck.
No, the root beer one that's more up my alley.
I bet it is. Hey, the Eagles win last night. Huge win against the Miami Dolphins, and they put them honestly in their place. Because for a week, the Eagles had to hear about, the big bad Dolphins are coming to town. Oh, they're the most prolific offense. Sounded like a lot of people hyped up the Atlanta Braves offense. Very similar. 27 Yankees. They're amazing. When in reality, we now know, you saw it. Miami has played 2 games against legitimate competition and 5 against non-legitimate competition. They got beat by 28, and they got beat by 14, and Jalen Hurts literally made that 14 it should have been more like a 21-point victory for the Eagles. So they played two good teams, and Miami has been pantsed, absolutely dominated. Now you know who they are. When you're playing teams that have 5 collective wins to get your 5 wins, you now know why you're running up these epic numbers. Because last night, Sean Desai, even Brian Johnson at times, and Nick Sirianni pulled up that was a classic chess match game plan, and they dominated the matchup. And I believe it's the first game this year where I say coaching won you a game. First time. I don't think I've said it any other time this year. Coaching won that game last night.
Well, we love that Brian Johnson went to the run. Who was it? Minnesota. And they just owned them that way when he saw how good they were running the ball. We praised him for that, which was good. You made the change during the game. You made adjustments. That was good. Last night, I can't give Sean Desai enough credit, man. He was
it's unbelievable.
And it wasn't just it's just the way I look at it. I watched a defense that was coached last night. You could see, how we'll look at an offense, John, whether it be hockey, which is your expertise, obviously, or basketball, whatever, and you'll say, man, I could see what the scheme was. Man, they wanted to run the high pick and roll. Man, they wanted to dump and chase, whatever it may be. Last night for a defense, we saw that. Man, they're on their toes. Ball went out of bounds. They ran to the huddle. They were all over the place last night, and I think that was a very coachable thing, the way they followed that through.
Pat, the way that they looked last night was a game where I said we had the superior coaching staff last night. Now, we had also great talent, and Miami's banged up. We're banged up, and I love the fact that we were able to exploit where they were banged up.
Yeah, they exploited it, and also they kept that offense off the field. I mean, going into that matchup, it was like you weren't scared of the Dolphins' defense. You were scared of their offense.
Right.
Their offense's ability to put up points. Well, how do you stymie that? You don't let them on the field. I mean, Nick Sirianni's game plan of chewing up clock, playing keep away, letting your defense make plays to get off the field, it worked. I mean, it was an incredible game plan. You kept the Miami Dolphins offense scoring 8 touchdowns.
That's amazing.
It's amazing. Yeah, I didn't have that on my bingo card going into the game, and yet they did it. They had a pretty flawless execution when it came to how Sirianni and staff decided to go about this. And, yeah, they exploited the Dolphins' weaknesses. It seemed like the pressure that the Eagles were getting was consistent all game. I mean, they were pushing around that Dolphins' offensive line, which was banged up and got even more banged up, but they took advantage of it. They did great.
And it shows, too. Tua, I think Tua is he has a better passing arm than Jalen Hurts. But he does not have better poise in the pocket than Jalen Hurts. And that showed again. Blow up. I said it last week. I was like, I don't know how that offensive line is going to hold up against the Eagles. The Eagles' defensive front is going to terrorize him, and Tua is going to either panic. He's not as mobile. He's going to make a bad throw. He's going to make a bad decision. That's what he does. He's not Jalen Hurts in that regard. He has a better throw. He has a better passing arm, though. He made some throws last night that were amazing, I thought, Tua.
Yeah, and I thought the broadcast did a good job of where they pointed out to where he was throwing the ball before receivers
Those
got
wheel
there.
routes.
Yeah, that's not something you see an awful lot with Jalen Hurts, and it's been. But I'll tell you what, one of the things that Jalen Hurts is doing now that I'm almost looking for is how good he's throwing on the run. He really is. He's throwing really well when he has to scramble out a little bit, when he buys some time.
A lot to the right, though.
Well, always
Again,
to the right. He can't go
that
to his
concerns
left
me a little bit
and throw the football. But that's something that I really look forward to him doing, is throwing when he's on the run.
Hey, Football Mondays on The Fanatic are brought to you by Pierce Phelps Bryant Heating and Air Conditioning Contractors. Visit nopaybryant.com. Get flexible spending options on a new heating and cooling system. One of our jurors is waiting to give their deliberations, and it's Dante in the Northeast. Dante, how you feeling this morning, brother?
What's up, boys? Good morning.
Hey, Dante.
I feel a lot better. You guys can test me before John got here. When I'm out on somebody, I'm out on somebody. So relatively, I'm out on Brian Johnson. But I have to give so much credit to Sean Desai. On 8 drives, you allowed 10 points. to the ranked number 1 offense in the entire NFL.
And really 7
Right.
because they fumbled on the 23, I think it was.
Yeah.
Which was a free field goal.
Yeah, which was the strip sack on Jalen Hurts. But, I mean, kudos to Sean Desai, man. A great game plan. I love the fact that you press the receivers at the line of scrimmage. I'd love to see him do that more often moving forward. And Howie, go get this man some better personnel on that defensive stack. I can't take Terrell Edmonds anymore. The dude's just hot garbage.
He played every snap last night. You realize that?
Hey, John, I
Yes,
need
sir.
your number, brother. I got to get in contact with you about something.
Oh, okay, good. Just DM me on Twitter, and we'll do it that way. All right, brother.
I got you, brother.
Take him out.
All right.
I don't want to give out my number on.
Oh, I will. 610
632 0975.
There we go. Yeah, that's good. That's really good.
I just looked at our what do you call it? YouTube chat.
Sure.
And Ike makes a pretty good point.
What's up, Ike?
He said, "Look, we can't praise Nick Sirianni for killing time off the clock without praising Brian Johnson for that too."
Well, if it's the game plan from the head coach.
Look, you don't think his game plan for the offense is in step with the offensive coordinator?
I think his calling of running plays has been subpar.
Whose?
Brian Johnson's. His decision to run the ball is different. Running the ball is one thing. Finding the appropriate run play to exploit the opposition is another. I think he's been subpar on it. Most of the year.
Yeah, I don't know who does what. I don't know who does the running back substitution. Before it used to be Deuce Staley. We were told. We haven't been told that anybody else besides
Absolutely.
Rob Johnson is making that. Or Brian Johnson. We haven't been told that Nick Sirianni's the one. I don't know the ins and outs of who calls what and who designs what. But, yes, we're going to have to give the head coach and the offensive coordinator credit for keeping the ball out of the Dolphins' hands last night.
I think that's fair. I mean,
Yes.
that's a fair thing to keep it balanced, to keep the discussion balanced on him.
Yeah.
I want to ask you this, though. Okay, we've seen the Eagles' defense shutting down a hyped-up offense. The Eagles moved the ball through the air. Jalen made plays when the game was hanging in the balance that needed to be made, and Tua couldn't make them. Is this a huge confidence builder for you, like Dante just said, or is it you still have a lot of questions? And is questioning this bunch right now sort of unfair, considering they have the best record in the NFL and they have fantastic odds? They have a 97% odds to make the playoffs right now this morning. I mean, it's ridiculous. Are we being too nitpicky? I don't think we are with Brian Johnson. But I believe overall with the Eagles, maybe we are. We're expecting it's been a slow transition, but with 2 new coordinators, maybe the bar was set too high and it's a little unrealistic.
Maybe. But they're going about it the right way. There has to be a step back when you have 2 new coordinators. There just has to be. Because you're trying to get used to each other and coming off the season that you had last year. Well, if the step back is 6-1, first world problems, right, John?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, my God.
Win the next 2 and you're right where you were last year.
And, they look good last night. That's a good Dolphins team. I know what you said about the 5-24, and you were right. You threw the numbers out there, and you can't dispute numbers. The eye test made you think something different. We saw how fast and quick they were last night.
They are fast and talented.
My God, I talked about quickness on the pregame show last night. Quickness is, to me, and what I was taught, a 2 or 3 foot box. Can you beat a guy in that? That's quickness. That's not speed. Speed is I can beat you in a 40-yard dash. The quickness last night with Hill and Waddle, you didn't see it so much because he was in and out. But him like blowing by Bradbury and Slay in a 2-3 foot box. God, and the way they held him down, that's great.
And Tua didn't deliver the ball to him well. He had a couple of drops, but I don't believe Tua delivered the ball in the most advantageous spot for him to be able to run with it.
Yeah,
like on those second half drops that put the position in where you can. I used to say that with Carson Wentz all the time. I thought Carson Wentz and Zach Ertz, every ball was delivered like where Zach Ertz had to fall down, or had to drop down in the zone and just catch it and get no yards afterwards. I thought that last night Tua wasn't doing a good job of putting him in a position to run with it.
Eagles did a really good job too. You have to expect they're going to get some yaks just because of that speed and quickness. But the Eagles did a really good job of containing that last night. There was a couple times they caught the ball and got 10 more yards, after the catch or whatever. But for the most part, when you watched Tyreek Hill catch a ball, when you watched somebody coming out of the backfield catch a ball, there was 5 or 6 Eagles around them in no time. Sean Desai, I can't say it enough. I tip my cap every time your name comes up today.
Well, it's getting better and better, and it's evolving. And I think that there are bright spots for Brian Johnson, but I also believe Brian Johnson has been given a healthy, stacked offensive roster that's actually potentially better than last year's. And I don't see they don't look like last year's team. They don't look as smooth as last year's team. They don't look as efficient as last year's team. But again, I gave Brian Johnson credit earlier. Their time of possession has improved by 3 minutes a game over what it was last year. Now, last year they were a quick score offense, though. They're scoring points and scoring it. But they bled out the clock, Pat, a lot of times in the second half. We talked about it. They were our favorite games, your Lego games.
Yeah.
They were our favorites.
Kicking back and just enjoying life, building a house or a plane or whatever comes to mind with Legos.
I don't like the little people in the Legos.
Yeah, I like them.
I rejected those.
But yesterday's game plan, you do have to give Brian Johnson credit. I think it was a Nick Sirianni thing, but Brian Johnson, if he's calling plays, deserves some credit in the sense of they were able to keep the ball away from that Dolphins offense. I said it earlier. It was the lowest amount of time the Dolphins offense has had the ball all season.
They had 133 yardage in the first half, 111 in the second half.
Yeah, they were minus 70 yards
dominated,
rushing. And that was a big part of it, was your rush defense set that up. Your rush defense keying in and not allowing anything, it allowed your safeties to back up and kind of help out the cornerbacks a lot and stymie the passing game. But then your offense going out there, having sustained drives, converting 4 different fourth down plays, keeping Tua off the field, keeping the Dolphins defense on the field to the point where the last drive they're completely gassed. Like that was the closest thing I've seen to the Eagles offense from last year.
You had every right, Bob, to question Jordan Davis last year and to say you needed more. Have you seen now what I think what the Eagles see? It took a year, but are you seeing now what the Eagles saw when they decided to go with him?
Yeah, it's night and day. Last year to this year. Yeah, it was somebody.
What was it though?
I don't know, and we questioned it last year. There had to be something on the inside that he wasn't getting a lot of playing time. Was it conditioning? Was it not knowing the playbook? I don't know. I'm not going to conjecture. I didn't, haven't asked anybody those questions. It was something. I often say this. You'll look at a player when their eyes are like wide open, like a deer in headlights. It's an uh-oh moment for me. I think that was last year with Jordan Davis. This year, the eyebrows are down like he wants to hurt somebody.
Yes.
And he's playing like that. When you see the interior line collapsing because of him, because of Jalen Carter, I mean, it's special. And you talked about the Kelly Green, and you don't like it, and it brings back bad memories.
This is not
that's fine. No big deal.
I like the color, but
last night I'm watching. My thoughts went back to when I'm watching that line collapse. I was like Reggie White, Jerome Brown, those guys. That's what it brought back to me when I was watching line collapse the way it did.
I know Pat jumped off his couch with Nolan Smith.
Oh, I was pumped.
Now you're saying. And by the way, did you hear the little tidbit they gave on the air?
No.
Nolan Smith's been banged up and nobody would really talk about it.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
Yes. During the broadcast, they said
he's only played like 4 snaps last.
And they said Nolan Smith has been a little banged up and they're bringing him along slowly. And he said, watch.
That's one way to put it. It's very slowly.
He said, watch the second half. Watch the second half of the year when Nolan Smith, he's coming into his own. And that was something Collinsworth gave out during the broadcast that made me go, wow, that might have been something he got from a coach that he wasn't supposed to say. Because sometimes you hear that. You get a tidbit, and you're told, don't share it.
Nolan Smith is lucky right now that Jalen Carter's on this team because it's taken away a lot of the pressure that Nolan Smith normally would face as a first-round pick. I mean, if he was their only first-round pick, we'd every week the question would be, where's Nolan Smith? Where's Nolan Smith? And he's kind of a forgotten guy that, Jalen Carter's allowed him to kind of be brought along slowly without criticism. But if that's true, that if he's banged up, man,
he's been banged up early in the season. I wrote it down here. Let me just get it exactly. He was banged up early in the season, so they're bringing him along slowly. I would bet in the second half we're going to see him sort of unleashed.
I hope. I mean, I'll tell you right now, every week that our buddy Zach Berman puts out the snap count, he's the name I look at.
Right.
He's the only name I'm looking for is how many snaps did Nolan Smith get?
I look at Jalen Carter, too. I look at Jalen and I want to see how they're using him. He's a beast.
He's so good.
He's a beast. It was great. Last night there was one shot in the sideline where Jordan Davis was the closest to the sideline, and behind him was Nolan Smith and Jalen Carter. And I was saying, damn, anyone could have done that. Anyone could have gone to the best defense in college football maybe in the last 8-10 years. And they didn't.
Yeah, how about Collinsworth yesterday saying, I can't believe nobody had Jalen Carter as your number one player.
A lot of people did.
Yeah.
But didn't pull the trigger.
Yes, a lot of people did.
But didn't pull the trigger.
Yeah, it's like, Chris, there was something else that happened with Jalen that maybe made him fall. I don't know. Just rock a Bing search, bud. You'll figure out what happened. Like,
all right,
nobody had it? Come on, Chris.
Something happened on Saturday night. And I think it was a move that is going to be one that we'll talk about for 20-some years. Your Phillies are one win away from the World Series. And we're going to talk about what makes a legend next. John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Restrictions apply. Void where prohibited. See full terms for both offers at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. NBA League Pass. Local blackout restrictions apply.
Now, back to the John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
You realize now you're like 9 hours from first pitch? How's that sound? John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic. So you just buckle in and hang out with The Fanatic all day long, getting you ready for what should be an amazing night. And I had a question for you. And I'm asking a question where I don't even know what my answer necessarily is. We toss around the term legend. And obviously to me, I always think legends are sort of made at the biggest moments in the postseason. It's not just accumulated over a bunch of regular season wins and things like that. I believe Saturday night, Zach Wheeler elevated himself to legendary Philly status for his career. And to me, I wonder if you think it the same way, because I looked at it and my wife says to me, so one game makes a guy a legend? I said, no. One game elevates a guy from being among the greatest in the franchise's history to being legendary. And I think Saturday night's performance sort of brought that there. Aaron Nola has a chance to do it again tonight. But I wonder, if Aaron Nola goes out and delivers like Zach Wheeler did, is he going to get that same legendary status? Because both of them are performing at the biggest times. And I ask you, is legendary status a cumulative thing with you? Or is it something where there's a singular event that moves somebody from being the greatest in a franchise to being a legend in the franchise? And if you want to get on this discussion, 610-632-0975. I don't know what the right answer is, but I know what mine is. There has to be a moment. And I think Saturday night was that moment. He's a legendary Philly now in my mind, Zach Wheeler.
Okay. Not yet for me.
Not yet.
No, you got to win a World Series. You can have great pitching performances in playoffs. That's what you are. You're a great playoff pitcher. Legendary? Nah, sorry.
So you don't go there yet.
Got to raise that trophy. Got to wear that ring. Got to do all that stuff to become legendary, yes. Now, it's funny. You look at Nick Foles. He played 2.5 games of phenomenal football.
Well, 1.5 he played phenomenal.
Yeah. Well,
2 games, yeah.
Well, 2.5, yeah. Minnesota and the Super Bowl, and then half of the Atlanta game. So that he reached legendary status that quickly. You shouldn't, but you do because you won a championship. Zach Wheeler, Aaron Nola, Zach Wheeler especially has been phenomenal in playoff situations for the Phillies. Legendary? Yeah, you got to win that. You have to win that World Series for me.
Okay.
But he's getting there. You're absolutely right, John. He's getting there.
Now, to me, he's already there. Pat, is that too early, or is he there for you?
Yeah, I think it's a little too early. I'm with Bob. I think if he wins it, it's, done. Like, right there. But if you don't end up winning it, I think we're going to still look back and say it's one of the best free agent contract signings they've ever had. He was incredible. All that stuff.
Okay, let me.
The fact that you have Mets fans online, just lamenting that they didn't re-sign him brings me great joy. And he has pitched unbelievable. But there's a chance that, World Series comes around, and what if he throws up a dud? I think he's well on his way, and I'd say he's 90% there. He just needs to, walk over the run over the finish line, John.
Could I help you, Pat, though? You have a you always tell me like my superpowers and everything. You have a superpower.
You always tell John about his superpowers?
To bring he'll say something like, that's your like superpower to
Bob, you don't have it.
No, I've never heard Pat say that.
Be critical
awesome.
or
that's
to
cool.
to nitpick something to a stat or words or
critical
wordsmith something. Wordsmith something. Your ability to bring something to the Mets makes me smile every time.
Yeah, I just
you thought about the Mets when we're discussing Zach Wheeler, which is great.
Yeah, look, hand up, I didn't like the signing when they signed Wheeler.
I loved it.
I just didn't like the giving $100 million to a guy with great splits, as that was the thing.
And coming off Tommy John.
Yeah, guess what? Thank God that I was wrong. Thank God that back then I'm pretty sure it it was Matt Klentak who signed him, that he did so, because it ends up being one of the best free agent signings. And the fact that you took him from a division rival who, I don't know if you guys are aware, but they missed the playoffs this year. That's pretty cool. So now Mets fans have to sit back and watch the guy that was on their team at one point who never lived up to what he's doing with the Phillies pitch his way into a World Series. That brings a smile to my face.
So I'm going to ask you this, though. Then I'm going to hold you both to the fire then. Is Darren Dalton a legendary Philly?
I think he is.
And how? He didn't win a World Series.
To many people. But
with us, I mean.
But not. It's a tricky one, and you're right.
That's tricky, is that because I tried to come up with names and said, are they not legendary?
Well, with Darren Dalton, it was interesting because I think he's a legend in the sense of he was the, quote, leader of that team. So for a lot of people, he was the leader of their favorite team ever.
Is John Kruk legendary Philly?
No.
I don't think so.
I don't think Dalton is. I mean,
I think to some people, not to me, but to some people.
Yeah. No, legendary to me.
So nobody off that 93 team is legendary? Kurt Schilling? Kurt Schilling is freaking unbelievable.
Schilling went from legendary to infamous.
Well, I mean, that has nothing to do with his performance, so I don't care about that.
It's he's a Hall of Fame pitcher. He should be in the Hall of Fame.
He's legendary.
That's a big word to me.
Okay.
It's almost like
it is a big
superstar.
word.
It's funny. We used to have this argument with
Jamie,
other people that worked with.
superstar,
Yeah.
yes.
Like my definition of superstar, his is different. Legendary to me, I'll call Steve Carlton legendary. He won, 5 Cy Young Awards or whatever it is, won a World Series. Legendary's big to me.
Schilling's legend and getting that title, though, to me was cemented with another squad. It was the Red Sox with the bloody sock. A name I'm sure you have on your list is Roy Halladay, right?
Yes, it is.
He's legendary.
Roy Halladay, they put him on a wall of fame.
Yeah, he's a legend in the sense of like the game of baseball, winning Cy Youngs in both leagues.
But not as much here.
I don't think so as much here either. But I mean, he's the best pitcher I've ever seen don a Phillies uniform in my lifetime.
We want to hear from you. 610-632-0975. John joins us. John, what do you think? Like legendary, I think that to me, now I will look at Zach Wheeler as a legendary Phillies pitcher.
So legend, we have to define what it means.
Okay.
Right? So legend, in my opinion, is something that somebody does that surpasses our original expectations.
Is that like Foles?
Right?
Are you using that like a type of example?
Nick Foles, Bryce Harper last year, right? So something that just over time compounds over memories and becomes greater than it once was in reality. So in order for someone to be defined as a legend, they have to have several of those key moments that when we reflect back on them, they're bigger than they actually were.
Wheeler hasn't done that for you the last 2 years? He's done it for me.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
so you would give him legendary status then. I'm taking it.
I would. Nola, unsure. If he goes out there this evening, guys, and he just shuts them down and dominates, and we got the crowd going, and it's a chills-type moment, that can be a legendary moment for him.
Now, I want to ask Pat and Bob about that. Because, John, you put it out there. I believe it can be, too. Do you believe that Aaron Nola can pitch himself into that legendary status?
Like I said, that's
you need. Well, what if they do win the World? What if they do win the World Series?
It's
interesting. It's very different.
Yeah,
because we all have different ideas.
John brings up a good point. A legendary moment. That's a lot different than being a legendary player. You can be involved. You could be a big part. You could be the reason for that moment. I don't know if that makes you. That's just my opinion.
That's all right. No, that's what
I don't know that makes you a legend. Like that's a big word to me, man. It's huge. Like when my dad died, they used it in his obituary as far as being a newspaper man. That he rose to the hierarchy of legend. That struck me. That was like, whoa, that was a stop moment in my life.
Everybody in his industry thought that about him. Or the majority of people thought that.
That's big. To call, wow. I never thought of this before. It's a great topic. It's such a big thing to me. I don't know. I just don't know.
You're on the fence with it, though. But
when you mentioned Halladay, I was like, wait a minute. Whoa. He wasn't here long enough. Was he a legend?
Well, that's what I say. I don't think he should be on the wall of
The
fame.
only pitcher that comes to my mind as legend, and this is before a lot of people's times, is Steve Carlton with the Phillies.
Mike Schmidt there, Bobby?
I said pitchers. I'm sorry.
You said pitchers.
Okay. I apologize,
yes.
Bobby.
Oh, yeah. Mike Schmidt, no question, a legend.
Absolutely. Schmidt's a legend.
It's
but,
cool.
like, is Pete Rose a Phillies legend?
No.
Okay.
And it's the
He's a
same thing
legendary baseball player.
Yeah, it's the same thing as Holiday.
Tonight-
Like he wasn't here long enough.
Tonight's first pitch, Larry Boa. I think Philadelphians look at Larry Boa as royalty.
Royalty, yes.
But not
Philadelphia
legendary?
royalty. It's interesting because some of these guys you're mentioning, they're baseball legends. They're not Philadelphia
Right,
legends.
yeah.
The other guy,
Like Halladay
Darren
is.
Dalton, is to many people a Philadelphia legend, but he's not a baseball legend. I mean, nobody in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, right now is talking about how great Darren Dalton was to the '93 team. But in here, it's like you'll still see number 10 jerseys all over the place.
And I got to tell you,
And Dalton can't fit the criteria that you guys just sort of laid out there.
but I got to tell you, and I'm going against myself right here, I have no problem saying Larry Boa is a legend.
Right. I mean, Larry Boa.
He is.
I'm
I
telling
love
you.
Larry Boa. It's a weird.
It's weird.
There's no correct or incorrect answer
to me,
here.
it's Cole Hamels, Jimmy Rollins, Howard,
Right.
Utley.
Let's see what Mark in Clementon has to say. Mark, good morning. You're on the Fanatic.
Good morning, gentlemen. This is a very cool conversation because everyone has their own interpretation of legendary. So, like, if I'm looking at the 93 Phillies team, like, to me, like, that entire team is legendary because that team ultimately made me a Phillies fan. Lenny Dykstra and Dutch and Crocker, like, these guys shouldn't have won. And, they made it as far as, granted, they didn't get the job done, but, I mean, that whole team is legendary to me. Now, as far as, like, this year, like, pitchers, it's so hard. I want to say Wheeler is legendary, but I think I have to agree with he has to win. He has to win it.
Wow. I mean, the thing is, though, what I look at it is Zach Wheeler may not get a ring this year, and it may, like last year, and it'll have nothing to do with him. Nothing to do with his shortcomings or failures.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean he's not a great pitcher. And, like, I think Nola might be, not exempt, but I guess part of that as well because he's been with the Phillies, the longest tenured Philly on the team. And for him to pitch how he pitched his last few games, and hopefully tonight topping it off, that would make him a legend. Even though he may not have, let's say, air quotes, win a World Series, which I think they will anyway. If he didn't and he pitched his heart out tonight and that gets him to the World Series, it has to, just because of his history with the team.
Good job, Mark.
This is what I do. I look into the future about how to react to the present.
I
really do.
I don't understand.
So I get texts on Saturday morning. My God, the Phillies, geez, I can't believe this happening. Everything's fine. Why? Because I looked into the future of saying they have to win 2 out of 3, and 2 of them are at Citizens Bank Park.
Wheeler, Nola, Suarez too.
Exactly. It wasn't. I try to get the gut reaction and take it out of me at times to see through what may happen. The legendary thing. If I look ahead, if I look 20 years, 15 years down the road, and we're sitting around the Phillies don't win a World Series, are we going to say, oh, my God, Zach Wheeler, he was legendary? I don't know. It kind of seems a little hollow to me.
The thing is, if this team doesn't win a World Series, Zach Wheeler had nothing to do with it.
I hear you. But do you understand?
Unless he
John, you and I are sitting on your porch 15 years from now having a beer. Are we going to agree or disagree? And they don't win the World Series.
Right.
That Zach Wheeler's legendary Phillies pitcher.
We will never agree on it. No.
So you're going to say he is?
I can say he
Christina will be on my side, so you're going to have to go in and get the beers for us.
Hey, Terrence in Maryland joins us on the Fanatic. Terrence, good morning.
Hey, good morning, John. How are you?
Good, buddy.
Good. So my take on the whole legendary thing, I feel like legends come with time. I feel like heroes are in the moment and legends come with time. So I feel like some heroes turn into legends based on how long they've been with the franchise, their long-term impact. Like Nick Foles to me was a hero. Like he's a hero in the city of Philadelphia. Eagles fans were slightly psychotic. So I think we slapped that legendary.
Slightly?
We slapped that legendary title on him, but I think Nick Foles, to me, is more of a hero than legendary. And I think right now Zach Wheeler is a hero. If we win the World Series, he'll be a hero. But then I think as time goes on and we look back at World Series wins, then I think that's when that legendary title gets slapped onto people.
Let me ask you all this question while you're on the line with us, Terrence.
Yeah.
Is Brian Dawkins a legendary Eagle? No title. No championship.
No title. But he's also talked about as one of the best in his position in that sport in history. And with his tenure with the Eagles, I think that there's always so like you have the generic rule, right? There's always exceptions to the rule. You don't make the rule based on exceptions.
Right.
So I feel like Brian Dawkins is an exception to the rule.
Yeah, Doug Frederick sent along that note to me. Thank you for your call. Sent along that note to me, and he says, Dawkins is a legend, no title. And I don't think anybody would argue that he's a Eagles legend, right?
I think the difference with this one and a couple other ones, too, that we've mentioned is Dawkins drafted by the team, played the majority of his career for this team.
Great point, Pat.
You know, Zach Wheeler was drafted by the Giants, traded to the Mets, made his debut with the Mets, signed here as a free agent. You know, Dawkins, like, I will never forgive the Eagles for letting that
You don't
dude
like
walk.
Joe Banner?
I can't stand Joe Banner for it. And I would tell him to his face. And he would sit there and defend his actions of Stacey Andrews Day. But, like, no, I'll never forgive you for letting Brian Dawkins to walk to Denver. The fact that man lives in Denver and he doesn't live near Bob going to P.J. Wellhands in Jersey like he should because he retired here annoys me. But when you're drafted by an organization and you spent the majority of your career here, I think it helps
That
you
adds
quote,
to that
legendary
case.
status. Yeah.
Then Aaron Nola can get that.
Yeah, I mean, if they end up winning and Aaron Nola plays a huge part of it, he's looked at completely differently.
See, now Bob's rolling his eyes a little bit. I believe.
Not at what he's looked at differently. Yes, I was waiting for you to say then he's a legend. I was going to say, my God, we're talking about a roller coaster being a legend of, you know, when the legend.
Okay, well, we're going to act like Kingdom Ka isn't a legend. That's a legendary roller coaster. Everybody flocks to Six Flags to go to Kingdom Ka.
See, you know, Bobby
Dorney
got
Park,
you on
Steel
that one.
Force. You want me to keep going?
Tasty Cake Dom wants something to say on this.
No, please, no.
Dom, how are you, brother?
Good morning, guys. What
Hey,
a
Dom.
great morning.
Thank you, buddy.
Hey,
It is a great morning, isn't it?
It's unbelievable morning.
I'm not going to be able to make it till 5.
Oh my God! And my boy is on the mound, baby.
Oh, there he is, and you've been a Nola believer since the beginning.
Yep. So for me, my father John passed away September 5th, 2008. So he didn't get to see that one.
Oh, that's terrible.
For me, and the moment he gave my dad, Tug McGraw is a legend. He is to me. Tug McGraw is a legend.
Is Tug McGraw a legend?
In Dom's father's eyes, yes. Or in Dom's eyes, yes.
Yeah,
and that's okay.
I know that you don't say it, but like when I think legendary, like that, doesn't that moment, John Burnt, when Tug McGraw strikes out Willie Wilson and raises his hand?
Oh, for me, he's legendary. But I think I may throw the word around more often than Bob does, and it's weird
Dom,
because
I'll say this: it's a legendary moment.
Legendary. Now, Bob, is Dr. J a legend?
Yes.
He got a title.
I don't even say. I just
Thank you,
Dom,
Dom.
and Dom and I grew up together. Like,
yes.
Yeah, Dr. J, a legend. Yeah, because every kid in the schoolyard wanted to be Dr. J, and Dr. J was just that. And yes, he does have the NBA championship.
He changed. Dr. J put the Sixers franchise on such the map. He was so. I mean, it was so big when he came here, and I knew really nothing about him before he came because of the ABA stuff. I didn't really know much, and I was a little kid, probably 5th grade, 6th grade. He made me fall in love with basketball, though. It's like Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods made me fall in love with golf.
It was Dr. J was just
Dr. J was
different.
ridiculous.
It was crazy different, cool.
All right, let me see if we can get one more in here. Jimmy in Southwest Philly joins us. Jimmy, good morning. You're on the Fanatic.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Hey,
what's
Jimmy.
up, buddy?
Great time to be a Phillies fan.
Oh, it's
Eagles
going to be
fan.
fun.
Woo, baby. So I think that, and also, John, just always remind you, always in our prayers.
I love you, buddy. Thank you. 25 days, 2 treatments.
Love you too,
Thanks,
man. It's a little thing for a giant, brother.
Thank you, buddy.
So, I think the Nola thing with the history with the team has a lot to do with it. If he pitches lights out tonight, he's got a better chance to be legendary with the Phillies than Wheeler just because of his background. That's how I see it. But Dr. J, legend. Smitty, legend.
Yeah, it's weird. Is that whether legendary is a moment or legendary is a career?
Is Mike Quick a legend?
No.
I'd say, and
I love Mike, but
he's a legend for dealing with what he has to deal with.
He's a legend. He's not. I don't know. We got to run. I just can't. It's really weird. I knew this was going to do this because it happened to me discussing it. It's like, oh my God. It's like you're making Zach Wheeler's legendary. I said Zach Wheeler has answered the bell every single time in the postseason except one, when he's just been outrageous. He's outrageous.
Been really good.
And to me, at the biggest times, when you show up at the biggest times, I think it's like I still have some of these Braves trolls that try to get my goat. Oh, you got to win the World Series now and everything. I said, dude, you're watching on TV. Shush. You can hush now. You were eliminated. You were great over 162. And 2 years in a row, when you were asked to prove it, you came to Philadelphia and you pooped the bed.
Yeah, just
pipe down.
Send those guys to bed.
Pipe down.
Just say, Daddy said night night.
And that's what I do. I say, like, you
I'm
don't
gonna
need,
tuck you in.
You don't need to be the contenders for the World Series. I mean, for the Super Bowl or whatever it is. We're talking now. We don't need you to be chiming in.
No.
You've been eliminated twice in embarrassing fashion too. What was the one game, Pat? 10-2, and the second game was what? The one that they won.
Oh God.
The second one was like 5-2 or something like that.
That sounds about right.
It was only like a week or so ago, and I still can't. It's unbelievable. Hey, get in with us if you wish. Legendary status. Legendary. Can Nola be a legend if he wins tonight? 610-632-0975. Brian's here for jury duty on the Birds and more. John Kincade Show on 97.5, The Fanatic. It is a great time of year for Philly sports fans. We're bragging about it all morning long. We've been bouncing off the walls. You got the baseball postseason, which is absolutely amazing. We can see a World Series here in town this week. Plus the Birds, the Flyers off to a great start. Philly basketball's right around the corner. And right now, get in on the BetPark Sportsbook app. So you know what live in-game betting means? It means you don't have to place a bet before the game begins. You can place a bet during the game. I like betting on individual player performances, though, before the game. You may want to go over on the Zach Wheeler strikeouts tonight. He's going to be amped up. Download the BetParks Casino and Sportsbook app. New users, make a winning $10 bet and get $125 in bonus sportsbook bets back. It must be a winning bet, and bonus bets must be wagered once. The BetPark Sportsbook, the only sports betting app that I use and I recommend. Safe, easy to use. You're going to
The first time he pitched, it was 3 solo home runs, I believe. I think it's much of the same. I think he'll be out of there by the 5th, and the Eagles cheese. Lack of sleep. The Phillies can tap into that bullpen, and by this point, they should be able to get to those guys pretty easily. So I'm not worried in the slightest about tonight.
All right, I love that. I love it. We got some jurors that want to check in on the Birds outcome last night and their thoughts on it. We'll go to Brian. Brian, first up. What's up, Brian?
What's going on? Good morning, fellas. How's everybody doing?
Doing well, man.
So, listen, I know we got the Phillies. The Birds won last night, but I'm not going to let the Eagles slide for last night. I still think Jalen Hurts is week. It's almost week 8 into the season, and he's still turning the ball over. Like he's got to.
Oh, it's bad. Yes, field. That's been bad.
Yeah, he has to be able to see the field better, and I'm not like, and I know he wants to be as hard on him as he is on himself, and I just feel like that. This needs to be corrected because I'm not confident in the Super Bowl right now. I really am not. If he keeps turning the ball over like this, the Super Bowl is not happening for us. And
whoa. So you're being too negative this morning. Oh, no, you're a juror. You're allowed to be negative. But I think
I'm not being negative, John. I'm calling him how I see it. He turned the ball over 2 times this week. I forget how many times last week. I couldn't even keep count. Like he's not seeing the field. Like he's got.
Oh, it definitely looks different.
It does, and I don't know if it's the play calling, but he's definitely staring down A.J. Brown a lot last night. Devontae got his. Goddard and Devontae got his, but he was still staring down A.J. the whole night. And it's just.
I got you. I think it's fair. I think it's fair. That was a little. But the thing is, though, the judge is not supposed to be telling the jurors what to think. A little too negative for me this morning. A little too negative on that one.
Yeah.
Jalen's struggling. And it's fair to say Jalen is struggling.
It's almost role reversal. If you were to look at the roster as currently constructed or who's healthy, who's not, to say that, wow, really satisfied with the defense, the offense still appears to be climbing. If you would have told me if you would have just laid that out to me, I would have said, the offense is probably set 7 games into the season. The defense is the one that's still trying to figure it out. So is that a good thing? All in all, that the defense is playing better than expected. The offense hasn't performed up to snuff, but they still can. I mean, they can get better.
Brian Weiler joins us, one of our jurors. Hello, Brian. Hand on the Bible, dude. Hand on the Bible.
Good morning.
What's
Good morning.
going on, man?
First of all, I love the Kelly Green jerseys, and I know that you said that doesn't, translate to a team that won a whole lot. But I can tell you, I'm almost 50, so I kind of missed the 81 Super Bowl year. I was knowledgeable of it, but it didn't mean much to me. And so when I finally had a team that I could latch on to those Buddy years, that's the jersey I think of. And I was a big Wes Hopkins fan, so that jersey really means a lot to me. So I thought that was really cool. And then to the game, I just can't get over that we have this weapon of the brotherly shove. Like, that is such a critical element to how we play the game, that you can go 4th and 1 on your side of the ball and go, you know what, we're doing this because we know we're going to be successful. And I get apprehensive sometimes, but you always end up seeing that surge, and you can see Jalen got there. And I'm just amazed that they're able to continue to do that.
I love the energy there. I like that. And it is, Brian, it's been that kind of performance. Pat, I mean, the brotherly shove is something that is fascinating to me. And I'm so relaxed with it now.
I'll tell you, I was shocked last night when it was 4th and 1 and they put out the punt team. And then you heard they call a timeout. And I went, all right, thank God. Because I didn't want to give the ball back to the Miami offense. But 4th and 1, and I've been playing the cut of Nick Sirianni talking about it. He looks at every down now as 3rd and 9, not 3rd and 10.
It's always first. No, he says it's always 1st and 9.
Yeah, 1st and 9. I'm sorry.
I love that,
because when you get to 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, you have the luxury of knowing 93% of the time, whatever it is, like we can just push and get it, and they executed it perfectly. I know Jason Kelsey talked about on his podcast where the NFL trying to kind of get rid of it, and you've seen them crack down on the offsides. You saw it last night, but right now, like other teams have tried it, it's not working. And the fact that the Eagles do something better than any other team in football is cool.
There's a point was being made by a listener last night, and I'm sorry Little chemo brain, not really remembering who it was, but I was responding with him and talking. He suggested that Jason Kelce needs to wear a different color glove.
On his left hand?
Because that way it would clearly, distinctly show that he's not offside and that somebody else is offside.
Well, so not down to cut in there, Bobby.
No, cut in.
Go.
So Jason Kelce in his documentary, I believe it was talking to No, I'm sorry. I'm getting it completely wrong.
What are you saying?
Julian Edelman did a podcast where he was talking about how he was wearing red gloves one time, and he got yelled at by Bill Belichick because he got called for holding, and how he was holding on a white jersey, and the white jersey, red gloves, it pops. So what a lot of NFL players will do is they will wear gloves of the opposing team's jersey. And last night, I'd have to look, but I'm assuming
Could have been,
Jason Kelce, I'm assuming, was wearing white gloves because it'll crack down on the ability to actually see hold with white gloves on a white jersey. So that's why I don't think that you need to wear, like, outlandish gloves. But all of that goes by the wayside if I look at the replay and Jason Kelce was wearing black gloves.
Did you see the Jalen Carter after the game? What he said about his flop?
Oh, yeah,
I did,
LeBron.
yeah.
What would LeBron do? I love that.
Yeah, it's
because
hilarious.
it's gamesmanship.
Oh, as soon as you saw it, you went,
It's
"What?
gamesmanship.
This guy did a semester of theater class."
I will say it too, though, to me, and it doesn't go in favor of the Eagles, but I think it's freaking ridiculous. There's no way an NFL team played 60 minutes and didn't get a penalty.
No, they missed some calls. There was a couple of holdings. There was a couple of holdings on the Eagles that I always yell out holding because I watch the offensive line. Whether the Eagles are on offense or defense, when I see it, I go, oh, there's a hold.
There's a hold.
I think I said it twice last night on the Eagles. The face mask, all whatever.
And the face mask got corrected because they got a touchdown in.
Yeah, I'd rather be there less. I'd rather there be less penalties in a game.
Oh, yeah,
Let
absolutely.
the players know,
But
there's
not
going to be
zero. That's ridiculous.
Well, I'm not going to complain.
No, I mean, I'm just saying is that there's no way in the world that the Eagles got a major break last night because of that. Mike and Delran checks in. Michael, how you feeling this morning? We got a double duty today.
What's going on, guys?
Good, buddy. You're sworn in, though. This is sworn testimony.
I learned two things yesterday, John. I learned that I'm too old to be at the parking lot when it opens 7 hours before the game, drinking all day.
Can I ask you something real quick, Mike? And I don't mean to. What the hell was that guy drinking out of?
Dude, it was a prosthetic leg.
A real prosthetic leg?
Yeah, buddy.
Did you see this, John?
No.
Yeah.
He was drinking out of his prosthetic leg?
Yeah, he had it. It was his buddies from college. I don't know. He had it with him, and somebody told him to take a shot with him.
My God.
I want to party with you, Mike.
It's going to turn into the rally leg. We pretty much.
Oh, no. You guys really know how to play. Yeah, exactly.
Only in Philadelphia.
All right,
And then
sorry. Do your jury duty. I'm sorry.
Second thing I learned was that this team can play with anybody, and I didn't know that until this week. Dolphins were the best team we played all season, and they held the best offense to just 10 points. I'm not worried about Jalen Hurts as much as a lot of people are. That one turnover was a pit pass. It's going to happen in games. But when you can have turnovers like that, and despite that, and still win games, big games like that, 31-17 is amazing. And then the one last thing that really pissed me off yesterday is I put $20 down on Julio Jones' first score at 4,800, and then it's 3rd and 8, and he's in the red zone, and he comes in because I was there. I was going ballistic. The quarterback draw. That really pissed me off. But anyway, good. Let's close it out tonight and go Birds.
There you go, buddy.
Mike seems a little melancholy today.
Yeah, that
Well, I
wasn't.
think it was too much time. Too much time in the. Too much time last week.
Wasn't the usual Go Birds we got?
No, I think he was maybe dipping into that leg a little bit too much yesterday. You guys didn't see that on Twitter?
No.
I did see it. I didn't understand what it was.
I was scrolling through and I saw it and I'm like, wait, what the hell is that? And the guy was drinking out of prosthetic leg. Yeah. And you hear Mike's voice like cheering him on. But the weirder thing was it was about 1 p.m. and the game wasn't until 8. So,
But a buddy of mine lost his legs in the service, and he now is a media personality, Johnny Jones. And he has his pool is Stumpy's Beach Club. He has the signs at the pool, Stumpy's Beach Club. That's like, he embraces it. He's like, look, I gotta embrace it.
Yeah.
I got no legs, but I don't know that I don't think he'd drink out of his prosthetic, though. I think that would draw the line.
Yeah, it
He
didn't
wouldn't- he
seem
wouldn't
like
do-
the funnest thing to do to me when I saw it there.
Hey, Ricky in North Jersey joins us on the Fanatic. Ricky, good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen. How are you?
Great
Hey,
voice, Ricky. What's going on?
Let me tell you something. Let me start off by thanking each and every one of you because you have made me a better football fan and looking at the game way different through your lenses.
Thank you
I
so
wanna
much,
thank
man.
You for that.
Appreciate that.
It means a lot to me. Real quick, the defense, I think they played very well, but they made the two mistakes. The one on that 3rd and 18.
That was a bad one.
The touchdown, it was terrible. And then the touchdown to Tyreek Hill. But again, the inconsistency of the offense, I know we should be happy, but it seems very scripted again. You know, Jalen Hurts is playing. He's not playing well, but I just think that they're putting him in positions where he should not be. And you know, the first 6 plays were run. We got to get out of that. Defense is playing well. Offense is inconsistent. I'll let you guys go because I really want to hear what you have to say.
Thank you, buddy. Appreciate that very much.
You know, I used the phrase earlier, first world problems, right? I mean,
yes,
I hear you, Ricky. Yeah, inconsistency, sure. That has plagued this offense so far all season long. And what scares me a little bit is their first drives. They're really good on their first drives.
Oh, they're really,
Why?
really efficient.
Because they're scripted. And then you get into the red zone. Well, you're not scripting those because you're not throwing a 15-yard out from the 4-yard line. You know, like once you get inside of the red zone, they're not scripted, and then it gets ugly. So I worry about that. I do. It seems like when you don't have to think on your feet, the offense is running a little bit better. Then, boom, all right, here, we're presenting this to you. What are you going to do? It kind of becomes a little different. But to the point Ricky was making, inconsistency, yeah. First world problems. This team's like 4th in the league in scoring. They're doing okay
Yes.
still. Yeah.
Hey, 9 o'clock hour is brought to you by the Bagster. It's a dumpster in a bag. Get yours today at Home Depot and Lowe's. For details, go to Bagster.com. I just love the fact that I'm waking up on a Monday morning in October, late October. And for the second consecutive year, the Eagles are sitting there tied or leading with the best record in the NFL. Like, that's amazing. And tonight, then, it's 9:07, by the way. We are now just what? To go to the game now. We're talking about we're 8 hours away from first pitch.
Somebody's getting to work right now, and they're saying, man, when I'm done, the Phillies will be on.
I love the 5:05 start today. And a lot of people do not like it. Pat, where do you fall on this? And you get involved in selling tickets too.
Well,
so
yeah, normally I like the 8 o'clock starts, but after the rash of 8 o'clock starts, I need a 5 o'clock start. So I was very excited.
You're
when
like,
the
please
Rangers
give me
won.
a 5 o'clock.
Yeah, I can't do another like late
Oh
night.
my gosh, it's been killing you. We have a Commanders 1 o'clock game on Sunday. That means your pregame show is what, 10 a.m.
Yeah,
on Sunday morning. We have Cowboys at 4:25
on Sunday.
That to be 2 weeks from now.
Oh,
the Cowboys game.
Okay.
Will at home is a 4:25, which
You're
I
getting
love.
out of my comfort zone here.
And then the next 2 weekends, there's no Eagles football because you have the bye week, and then you have the game at the Chiefs is Monday Night Football. So you have 2 weekends where you can really make up with your wife. You can go out there and you can do things that really show.
Make up what?
Make up some plans for you and your wife. Like go and do something where you don't normally do something because you have no Eagles football to watch.
That's what we do.
What do you mean?
We watch Eagles football.
No, but I mean, you got something else.
We watch baseball.
But wouldn't it be great if you then no?
Do what? Then I have to make conversation and stuff?
I make like a plan.
Really?
Like a plan. I see all these people going to wineries. I can't do the wine right now because wine hitting my mouth just right now with the chemo just tastes like crap. And I love wine. I can't wait to do some of those wineries. Like down in the Jersey Shore and everything.
Sure, I like wineries.
I know Mikey Miss has got one going on. So, I mean, I'll definitely try that. I can't wait to try it out. But to me, it's a great chance for you to plan ahead a little bit. Become husband of the year. Make a plan for the weekend of the 11th or 12th or the weekend of the 18th and 19th. And if you do something proactively, she doesn't know that there's no Eagles game. Maybe she doesn't know, and she's going to be like, what a great husband I have.
But
They
she
made
already knows
plans
that.
That she already knows you're a great husband?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's great then.
Yeah.
That's great. See, I feel like
Sports doesn't come into play in my relationship at all.
It doesn't? I feel like I'm learning every day. Hey, George in Mount Airy joins us. George, how are you this morning, brother?
I am supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Nice.
I was trying to find a great adjective when I was talking to the producer.
Yes.
And I couldn't find one, and that just happened to pop in my head.
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. There it is.
Yeah. Like, look, to be honest with you, last week especially, I'm hearing everybody, oh, Miami's fast. How they going to stop Tyreek Hill? How they going to stop Tua? Blah, blah. And I'm sitting up here thinking, yeah, how are we going to stop them? And sure enough, my prayers were answered. You stop a fast team by when you punch them in the mouth, if they have no counter for you, it's pretty much a wrap. Like, from the first quarter, and I'm not going to pass by the turnovers. The turnovers is a problem. But the way you beat a team like that, you keep hitting them in the mouth, and you don't let up. And of course, Tyreek, he got his touchdown. That's to be expected because he does what he does. He's a playmaker. But for the most part, they hit him in the mouth and they didn't stop. Like, especially on our defense, it was great to see.
I love it. I love you. I love the fact that you're finding the positives today.
Yeah.
And I hope they don't look past it. I'm going to look past it because I'm a fan. I cannot wait for this San Fran game.
Oh, they're not looking past that. You kidding me?
I mean, and don't get me wrong. Don't look past Washington, but they'll beat them. Don't look past Cowboys. They'll beat them too.
After that last game, George, got to tell you, after that last game, they made Sam Howell look great. Sam Howell looked like such garbage. He looks like garbage against a ton of people. He looked terrible yesterday against the Giants. They were
that
terrible.
Whole game was garbage. It's weird. I was surprised at my reaction a little bit yesterday. So I was kind of home alone. My wife was out, to lunch with her friends, whatever. And I finished some stuff up, and I said, "Oh, good. I'm going to sit down and watch some football." And I didn't know what game was on, and I turned on. I'm like, "Oh, damn, really?"
Oh my God, it was
Giants and Commanders,
and it was good.
And I was like, "Nah, I'm going to keep doing some stuff around the house." I didn't watch it all that much. I just didn't.
It was so bad.
Yeah, it was hideous.
I mean, it was a hideous game.
That's gross football.
And Tyrod Taylor's beating him. T-Mobile.
I don't know how you go back to Daniel Jones if you're.
Well, you have to. You just
Giants.
gave him that huge contract.
He's not going to be there next year.
You don't believe so?
No, I think they have to cut bait. I don't think they can do another year of playing the what if with Daniel Jones game. You got 1 year, cut bait, deal with the cap hit, and move on.
But doesn't the new contract begin next year?
I've looked it up before. It's like his cap hit, his dead cap money is very high next year, and then after that, you're good.
But
there's an out. There's an out after year 2.
They have the 5th pick in the draft right now. We want the Giants to play themselves out of a top 5.
Don't mess that up too.
No, we want them to get to like 10th or everything, so that way they won't get a top-notch quarterback that's going to terrorize us for the next 50 years. So we want to keep an eye on that. So
hey, they had a Hall of Fame quarterback for almost 20 years. He didn't terrorize the Eagles at all.
No, he didn't. In fact, you're right. They're correct.
So I'm all right. Giants can try to do whatever they want. If they get the 5th pick, they'll probably take an offensive line.
Bob wants to know about, let's just say, what's the best word, Bob, for you as far as Studley? Is that the word we're going to find out about? Bob's going to tell us.
We're talking about Studley.
Bob's talking studs next. It's going to be interesting. John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic. Hey, John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic, and Football Mondays on The Fanatic are presented by Pierce Phelps Bryant Heating and Air Conditioning Contractors. Visit nopaybryant.com. Get flexible spending options on a new heating and cooling system. Bob just said it when he came in. He's like, man, today has flown.
Yeah, it's seems like shows go quicker when the team is doing well.
And things are great.
Yeah, when life doesn't suck in Philadelphia sports.
I don't know how I'm getting till 5 o'clock, though.
Take a nap.
You can
do
it.
I have to take a nap. What did I
you
do?
can make a
I'm
phone
sorry.
call.
Just keep hanging up on people, John. You can do that, too.
I think I could. I don't know. I
want to do. I'm antsy. I want to do something tonight. I just said to Pat, I go, "Oh man, what should I do for the game tonight?" And he's like, "Well, you got your mother-in-law coming over."
Well,
and I was like, "Yeah."
Okay. Here's what you need to do. There needs to be a menu item that you.
Yeah, I'm thinking of telling her to pick some stuff up. So she lives down by where we used to live.
Okay.
And there's a great place that makes unbelievably good strombolis.
Okay,
so there might be a text to say, "Hey, why don't you bring that up?"
And then aside, then you could create something else.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a fun dinner night. Do something.
Maybe grilling, because it's going to be. It's still a little chilly.
Too early. No, it's not too chilly. I'll grill in the winter. I don't care about that.
Okay.
That's interesting, John, that you said that. Grilling.
I think grilling always tends to be something that goes with baseball.
Yeah. Good point. Hot dogs.
I don't think grilling. I don't think football unless it's a tailgate in the early part of the season.
Yeah.
Because it's very complicated.
Ooh, you know what? There's a great wings place down there, too.
It's called PJ Wellhands.
You got PJs?
I already have. I'm thinking that's so weird that you said that because we have PJ wings at the house because we got them Saturday night. So I was just looking for like a different.
What kind do you have that you are eating 2 days later?
Oh, the parm. What is it? The
garlic parm.
Garlic parm.
Oh, they're
yeah.
delicious.
Oh,
Now,
they're
do you
so
heat them
good.
up?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay, so you heat them up before
Air fryer, man. Air fryers are the best thing in the world.
Pat, there is one thing that you had a little concern about, and I want to just bring it up here, is that you're worried about Lane Johnson's health a little bit. And
yeah.
But I think he gave up a sack last night.
Oh, he absolutely gave up a sack. He absolutely gave up a sack.
But he was really good.
Yeah, I don't know if this is going to be like when Phil Kessel in the NHL was going for the Iron Man streak, and it was like, okay, you can play one shift and then leave. I don't know if it's that where they're trying to keep this streak alive, but it was probably the worst I've seen Lane Johnson play, which is better.
Okay.
Than just about every other offensive lineman. Like, that's how good he is.
Very good.
And it goes to the standard that he set for himself. But, yeah, I thought that the injuries seemed to be nagging, or maybe I'm just looking too into it, and he just simply got beat. I mean, eventually, he's going to give up a sack. But I wonder how long this injury is going to affect him, how much it affected him yesterday. Will it be a situation where we're going to be dealing with this all season like we dealt with Jordan Mailata's shoulder last year? And yeah, it's a concern because their record with him and their record without him is big. And I don't want to see a situation where this does affect him so much where it nags and nags and nags. And finally the dam breaks.
I'll use the
NFL 13.
I'll use the NFL Plus and I'll watch it and I'll see. And thankfully they have people that tell you, that know what they're doing, that tell you exactly, okay, he got beat here. He didn't get beat here. I didn't watch the game and feel that way, that he was under duress because of Lane Johnson.
It's funny. Last night watching the game, I always go into watching it over again to keep my eye on a specific thing. Lane Johnson. It's funny you bring it up, Pat. Lane Johnson is my particular thing.
When I
rewatch the Eagles on offense today, I'm going to be watching Lane Johnson from the beginning to the end to see how he performed.
You said you needed divorce, Bob, and I don't know if Donna's listening, but that's not really good. I mean, if you need a divorce.
I do.
What about?
I need a divorce from a couple
Donna
of things.
doesn't deserve this treatment.
No, Donna deserves better than me, for sure. I need a divorce from a couple of things in this city right now. I need a divorce from the thinking that when you get inside the 20, Kenneth Gainwell has to be your running back.
King in his kingdom.
I need a divorce from that.
Okay,
Like, I can't have that anymore. I need a divorce from Rob Thompson thinking using Kimbrel at any time in a game when you're not up by more than one run is plausible. But I need a divorce from that. You can't do it. You can't put Kimbrel in a game where it's either tied, where you're only up one run. No, you can't. You can put him in when you're up more than one. 2 runs, fine. Anything under, no. I need a divorce from that.
Can I add to that?
Yes.
It has to be in the 9th inning. it has to be for 3 outs.
Yes,
it cannot be in the
clean
eighth inning four out save situation. It can't be the 8th inning of just the 8th inning or bring somebody else in. It's got to be 9th inning, 3 outs. I agree with the up by
He's a
more than one.
freaking Hall of Famer.
Well, then he should be able to get outs, John. I'm tired of that argument.
Okay.
Guess what? What's his name? James Harden's a Hall of Famer,
But
too.
he doesn't. Please.
Please what?
James Harden is not what Craig Kimbrell.
Well, then don't play him in Game 6 or 7. What are you saying?
Craig Kimbrell has sucked in his career in October. His ERA is close to 5, so he has been James Harden.
He has never blown a postseason save.
His ERA is close to 5.
Again,
he's James Harden.
But again, he's never blown a postseason save.
He's James
It makes
Harden.
the point. You give him,
He got the loss the other night.
You put him in the job that he has done that has made him a Hall of
Well,
Famer.
then don't play James Harden in Game 6 or 7.
Yeah.
You ask him to do 3 outs when you have the lead. 9th inning.
Why can't he get an out? If he's a Hall of Famer, get out. I don't give a crap what the situation is. Get an out. If I put you in the game and you're a Hall of Famer that can get 3 outs and that's your resume and that's what you're going to talk about, go in and get me outs.
There are 5 guys, I believe, in the all-time save list that don't have a blown save.
But how is that helping me now?
Well, if Rob Thompson does what he does, Pat, you just brought it up. Give him a clean inning. Give him a save situation. He's never blown a save in the postseason.
I didn't say I had faith that him coming in, because I don't. I don't have faith at all.
I would be lying. I would be completely lying to you, BSing you, if I said I had faith.
Yeah, I think putting in the most advantageous spot is 3 outs, 9th inning.
That's it.
Up by 1, but I don't have faith in him.
And I believe it's 4 guys on the all-time list that have never blown a save in the postseason when they have 10-plus saves.
I don't care.
I agree, putting people in the best position. That's what you do. You're a manager. Put people in the best position to succeed. And whether it sucks or not, I don't have any faith in him in the 8th inning. I don't have any faith in him in the 10th inning.
I don't have any faith in him at all anyway, at all now.
But to me, it's ridiculous that you just don't. You ignore all data you have. You're a data guy. You're a spreadsheet guy. And you ignore all of it when it comes to a player.
Well, you're not going to get to the 9th inning. You're not going to get to a perfect 9th inning with a 2-run lead where I can put him in if you don't get outs before that.
Well, that's because
to rely on the Hall of Famer to get you outs. Why can't you go in and get outs?
Well, that's why I would not.
That's what sucks.
Well, that's why I would not pull Sanchez at 38 pitches, because you determined before the game we were going to let him have 40 pitches.
Yeah, I was
that
mad.
kind of crap.
I was mad about that as well.
And Ranger too.
I was mad about that as well, but I kept going back to I don't know how much I can complain about that, because they would have used those guys in that spot anyway. They would have used Kimbrell in a high leverage situation. They would have used Alvarado in a high leverage situation. Maybe they don't use Kirkering in a high leverage situation, but like most of the guys they use, they would have been used in that spot anyway.
They used Hoffman the other day. What was it, the 3rd or the 4th?
Yeah, I mean,
it was ridiculous.
Maybe they do bring him in the 8th.
Ridiculous. I mean, that just is so dumb to me. And by the way,
I was with you. By the way, I'm just clarifying. I was with you on when they pulled Christopher Sanchez. I thought it was idiotic.
And I think when they pulled Ranger, I wouldn't have pulled Ranger that early.
Agreed.
You're Captain Hook. You're doing things, and you admit afterwards you're doing it because you predetermined it. You're managing a game. Imagine you're coaching a game. You're managing a game because you predetermined how you thought it should go. You're not getting any feel for the game. You're not getting any idea. There was no reason to pull either one of those guys when they did. Yeah. Have a short leash.
Going to their 2nd straight World Series.
Let's hope they are. Mike is on the line. Mike's one of our jurors. Mikey, let's hear your thoughts on the Eagles getting to 6-1 last night.
What's going on, fellas? How are you
up to, buddy?
Hey, Mike.
So, I mean, what a great day to be a Philly sports fan, huh? Phillies are going to clinch tonight. You know, it's good. Good day.
That is a good day. Good day to be aware of.
So, as for last night's game, I mean, great win against a great team. I think that was a very big win against a good team, especially like I talked about a couple weeks ago with the teams we have coming up on the schedule. That a big win. Defense held Tua to only 216 passing yards, and that's the lowest he's had all year. So, great job by the defense and Sean Desai. Finally, I think this is the first week that I had a positive jury duty.
Yeah, well, I mean, with Sean Desai, too, though, he's getting a lot of acclaim this morning.
No, he is, as he should. I mean, I don't think that he's been getting high praise the last couple of weeks because he hasn't been, doing too well. But I think last night he coached a very good defense.
And we're looking forward to more of that.
Mike, that's your first positive jury duty?
On
I
Desai,
think so.
right?
No, it is. I mean, I missed last week, so I don't know what my fine is.
Yeah, you got a summons.
I can guarantee you it wouldn't have been positive last week.
Yeah, right?
We came to your work, Mike, by the way. We're issuing the summons for missing last week.
That's what I figured.
All right, buddy.
I figured. I'll see you guys.
Thanks,
care,
Mike.
man. Good. You, Bob, you would love playing golf with Mike's grandfather. Mike's grandfather and I coached together at a time. Just a great dude. Pat, he's like the Bob Cooney of his generation. He's the Bob Cooney of Havertown.
So, like, he just walks around, everybody knows him.
Mike McNellis is known. That's his grandson. Mike McNellis is known by everybody in the hockey community and then the community of Havertown. He walks around like the mayor and can pop in any place, have a beer. Everybody will know him.
That's our Bobby.
But he's out in Downingtown now.
I had a couple people come up last night to say hi to us while we were doing pregame. And my friend John came up with his daughter, and I was like, yeah, you got to wait a second or whatever. We go and break in a couple minutes. I go to say hi to him, and he goes, why does it seems like Egan always gives people a dirty look when they come over to say hi to you? I said, yeah, it's there's something going on.
Yeah, back off.
Back off, people.
Like Pat got mad last night. I get in the elevator, so I park my car at Xfinity Live, or not Xfinity Live, at Live Casino. Park my car. I go to get on the elevator. And a guy says to me he's with a young kid, turned out to be his nephew. He goes, man, I'm surprised traffic isn't all that bad. It was like 3:45. I said, no, you kind of hit the low. He goes, yeah, I came from South Jersey. And right away I thought about it, and I go, where from? He goes, Cherry Hill. No way.
Oh, geez, there it is.
So it started, yeah.
See, no, you were talking in an elevator.
He can't help himself.
And my girls literally are like, Dad, stop talking to people in elevators. You make mistakes.
They're missing out.
You make mistakes in elevators. Bob's
had some of his best conversations in elevators.
Damn straight. It's only about 30
don't
seconds.
Make mistakes in elevators that your daughter and wife find very embarrassing. You know, it just happens.
Bobby probably isn't. I don't know. How does Don and the kids deal with?
It doesn't usually happen with that. Like, you know, when you're with the family, you're just like, you tone it down. But this was like, you know, we're all going to an Eagles game. It was me, this guy, and this young kid. So he said Cherry Hill. I said, oh, I'm from Cherry Hill. I said, is this your first game, buddy? And he says, yeah. And he was so excited. That was it. Okay. I didn't go into the,
so you got his phone number and he's texting you now?
No, we went out for beers after the game. But no big deal. We're going out to lunch today.
I told you, Pat, Liv will tell the story forever of her father getting into the elevator. And there's a Asian man in a raincoat because it's pouring rain outside up in Bristol, Connecticut, and pouring, and he's carrying like 3 boxes of Chinese food and rolled up menus in his hand. And I get in the elevator, and I'm like, that smells amazing. Do you guys deliver? And he looked at me, and he says, I'm staying here.
Dude.
I was like, oh, God. It looked like a delivery guy. He looked like a delivery guy.
What do delivery guys look like?
Well, he had like the 3 containers that were like all in like, you know, in the bags, and he's carrying the bags like that. It looked like a feast.
So every white dude that has McDonald's, all of a sudden you're asking them, do you guys deliver?
It was terrible. It was like, come on. It smelled so awesome. I was like, that smells amazing. Idiot. So the girls love telling us.
It's time for you to shut the up.
They're like, please stop it. All right, now I want Bob. I really want to get this. And Pat, maybe some sexy music for Bob on this one because.
Absolutely.
He's asking about studs and the studliest people in town. Now, you're thinking of Pat now, right? A little bit?
Well, I'm watching the game last night, and
I found myself doing you yesterday.
All right, we're going to finish it all before I talk. What do you put your wiener in? One more?
What?
I'd rather you bite me than lick me. All right.
All right, I'm done.
So I'm watching last night, and it came out of my mouth, and like I'm like,
oh no, there you go again.
And I'm like, man, this guy's
what?
This isn't gonna work.
Yes, it is. This is working. This is working beautifully.
If you're watching,
just act like we're in an elevator.
Exactly.
If you were watching the Eagles game last night and you came away saying, "Man, that guy's such a stud," who are you talking about?
AJ.
Yeah.
Because I
mean,
love
physically, speed, yeah, just everything about him. And I was like, God, that guy's good. And then I started saying in my head, like, man, I wonder if I said this to the guys, you know, who was the best, the studliest Eagles player last night, who are they going to say? You could probably come up with a couple. And then I thought, man, this town is littered with it. Like, think about it.
Wait. Who are the other guys that you would have said were studs last night? I don't give Jalen a stud last night.
Jalen Carter. I thought was kind of. I thought Jordan Davis was kind of studly last night. I thought the defensive secondary, for what was in front of them and what they had to do was kind of studly last night. So it wasn't individual so much. But then I started to think of this city. Who is the studliest athlete that we have here right now? As far as, man, I'll ride that guy to a win or to a, whatever it may be.
You'll ride him all right.
You know who it is, Pat.
I'd go with Bryce Harper.
I would also.
Like that dude's ability to come up in the clutch in the biggest moments is something I've never seen before. In a sport set on failure, that dude rises to the occasion time and time again.
Is that team full of them?
That team is, it's.
Or I shouldn't say full. Do they have more than one?
Schwarber's the leader, but I think if Schwarber wasn't on this team, Harper's the leader, but if he wasn't on this team, you'd probably be saying Schwarber. Because his ability to set a tone with a home run, a big home run, is impressive. I mean, but for me, number one in the city is Bryce Harper.
I mean, Bryce
he's done
Harper
it time and time again.
He's just. I think it's one of those things where it's the old cliche. Men want to be him, and women want to be with him. I mean, he has such a swagger. He has such a studly quality. He has come through for us so many times.
Like last night, we saw Darius Slay get an interception, and
he made up for a bad moment.
Afterwards, he was telling that's why they call me Big Play Slay. We might as well just change Bryce Harper's nickname to Big Game Bryce, because that dude's ability to just come up in key spots and time deliver again and again is really, really impressive. So AJ Brown, absolutely, put him on the list, but I think number one on the list is, and without a doubt, Bryce Harper.
Where does Embiid fall?
Oh, not even in the discussion for me.
Unfortunately, he's not.
Wow.
He's not in the discussion only because he's just never available / healthy when it matters most.
I haven't seen him put his best foot forward when the pressure's on. That's exactly the opposite. He's the anti-Bryce Harper. He's never shown up at the biggest times to say, climb on my back, I will carry you.
But I think it's in there, though. I do think that he has the ability to become that. I feel like I'm going to be 90 years old thinking about, man, if only we could have gotten a healthy Joel Embiid in a playoff run.
Yeah, I think this year's going to be really interesting. Reading up a lot this weekend on the Sixers with them starting on Thursday night in Milwaukee this season. Nick Nurse is, and I talked to a couple of people this weekend, Nick Nurse is different. He's going to have these guys playing a different way. And we may love it or we may hate it. I don't know if this team is built really well for the way he wants to play with a lot of older players. But it's going to be different, and we're going to notice it right away. And maybe it will lend to Embiid being that guy that you can count on more. But it's funny, reigning MVP, and we don't put him in the top of the,
God, I don't even
tier
put him.
Of guys.
How about this? I don't even put him in the discussion, and that may be too rough. Maybe that's too rough because of the injury situation and everything. I just have never seen it. Never seen it. 6-7 this year. I don't want to hear that he was injured.
Oh, he was.
Then he's always in. Then he's always going to be in.
He is.
And you know what? And guys play all the time injured in the NBA.
His injuries are different. We're talking about torn ligaments and knees and
eye sockets.
Yeah, look, I'm as frustrated as the next guy, but it's facts are facts.
6-7 this year. What was it?
I legitimately forget the injuries because there's so many. Was it knee?
I don't hear any surgeries.
Was it? Well,
no surgeries. No,
sometimes
nothing.
you don't need surgeries.
I got it. Well,
was it torn ligament this year?
3 years ago was, oh my gosh, that Hawks series. It was like he was Camille. It was like, oh my gosh, not Eric Camille. He was Camille. He was the walking wounded, and it ended up being there was nothing. They're like
there was something that might not have been as severe as we thought, but there was a problem in his knee,
and there's no surgery.
They wouldn't come out and say there was a problem with his knee and then not.
Oh, there might have been a problem. Someone tells
I'm saying, but just because you don't need surgery, you have an off season. If it can heal without surgery, you probably will like to do that than go under the knife.
Hey, Christian in Mount Laurel joins us on the Fanatic. Christian, good morning. You want to get into the fray today?
Good morning. How are you guys today?
Good, buddy.
Good. So I don't know if you remember me. I hope you don't, but I'm going to call and apologize. Make this short and sweet, but I called a few months ago when the season started. I called saying Jalen Hurts is like a Tubi movie and Dak Prescott's like a Golden Globe, right?
Oh, yeah, I remember this. I do remember this.
I do want to rescind everything I said and actually watching the Eagles play and last night and everything and how the whole season's turning out, just want to apologize and say Dak Prescott's like a one of those movies you find at the Dollar Tree. And
in the
without a
bin
name on
that
it.
you got to fish through?
And then Jalen Hurts is a Golden Globe Academy Award-winning quarterback.
So
I do wanna
Jalen Hurts is
apologize.
Oppenheimer, and Dak Prescott is Sharknado 10.
Yes,
Christian,
absolutely.
I can't believe this though. Is that you say that and you think the Cowboys are not as good as the Eagles?
No, I'm calling now because I'm gonna just in advance the way that the season's looking, and I've been optimistic since I've been a Cowboys fan. We're gonna win it every year, and I think this is the last year I'm gonna say it. I think I might have to go with a Kelly Green jersey next year. And,
wow.
Yeah, I think I may have to because I'm on board with everything. Watching the Phillies and everything, and the Philly sports culture is definitely the where you want to be in a fan base. So,
did you just move here? Did you move here recently?
No, I'm one of those really bad Cowboys fans that only been to Texas about once or twice, but is just a Cowboys fan for some odd reason.
Oh boy!
But I think those days are done. So
Thank
you
you,
may see me
Christian.
calling in with the Kelly Green, but I just want to apologize for that comment I made a few weeks ago.
We got to get you out there. Good job, buddy. I love that. The weird thing is, I don't think this is the year to be going. Jalen's so much better than Dak. Jalen has as many. I think he has one more touchdown than interceptions. I don't think this is the year to be like boasting and making that case.
No,
he looks a lot like Dak to me. A lot like Dak.
If he wants to come over, he should say the Eagles look so much better than the Cowboys. I wouldn't go quarterback comparison right now.
Yeah, he did say, though, that he believes the Cowboys are.
Pat says he's not allowed.
Yeah, I never liked that.
What do you think?
You're an adult. Stick with your team.
Really?
We're not bandwagon hopping over here. And no. You made your bed, dude. You gotta lie in it.
So you have to lay in it forever.
Yeah, like I'm not trying to gatekeep here and hold people out of a party, but no.
Sounds like you are.
Well, in this situation, you're a Cowboys fan. You're to hop over. Like, there's no loyalty in this game, dude. Like, stick it out.
Remember though, he's a Cowboys fan that never ever has been to. He's been to Texas like once. I think he's.
That doesn't matter.
You don't think that matters?
No. If roles were reversed, right, and we heard a call from a guy in Amarillo who said, "Yeah, I've been an Eagles fan. I've only been in Philly once, so I'm ready to become a Dallas Cowboys fan." What would we say about that guy?
Like it's snakish.
Yeah, like I appreciate him listening to the call, but stick with the Cowboys.
Wow.
Because let's be real, if the Eagles were year one of Sirianni, this dude wouldn't want to hop over.
Okay, but do you?
He can cheer for the Phillies. Sure, go ahead. I mean,
but when you're talking about gatekeeping, which is what the word you were talking about there,
yeah,
it is sort of gatekeep. How did the Cowboys become America's team?
They were on TV.
Because they didn't gatekeep. It was because of an NFL Films called them it. But.
When I think gatekeeping, I think, oh, okay, you thought the Phillies were their season was over when they lost, so now you can't enjoy this run, even though you've been a Phillies fan. Like, that to me is gatekeeping.
See, now I'd say kick their backsides out because they're not real fans.
See, that to me is a little gatekeeper. That's because they're being reactionary. But in this instance, this guy is a Cowboys fan, and now he wants to be on the Eagles side because they're doing well. If the Eagles weren't doing well, he wouldn't decide, it's a really good atmosphere.
Okay. What was his name again?
Dak.
No, the caller's name?
Dakota.
I don't remember.
This is all the reason you shouldn't worry about what other people or who they root for. You don't even remember his name. Who cares who he
root
roots
for yourself?
Name's Jerry.
Yeah.
Root for yourself.
That's
root
all that
for
matters.
who you want to root for. But Pat, though,
what's fan short for?
I don't.
That's right.
I don't remember.
Pat, I think that's far.
I love pissing Pat off.
You do
there
it well.
He is.
You do it well. I think that to me, it's worse to be the rats that were scurrying off the ship on Saturday morning, and I heard them all day long on this radio station.
You gotta stop listening to this radio station.
No, I enjoy it.
I'm kidding.
It's like,
kidding.
oh my God! It's like, season's over.
Yeah,
where the bats went last year. I think those are the worst people in as a fan base.
They're annoying, but it's a reactionary movement to 12 hours later call up and go, that's it, done. I mean, every fan base is full of the sky is falling, you can't enjoy the ride because they're the doom and gloom fan. Every single fan base, and they're the vocal minority.
People.
And they're very frustrating to listen to, and they're annoying, and we all know at least one or two people like that. But they're still there watching. They're just annoying about it. They're not trying to flip sides. Like I bet you there was no one calling going, all right, they're gonna lose, season's over. I'm now just becoming a Texas Rangers fan.
No.
And that's my issue.
Didn't hear any of that. But I think it's worse the person who's not loyal. Person who's not loyal to their team. Person who bails out a 2-2 in a championship series.
Well, do they bail out or are they
just mad at their team?
Oh, no, they were bailing out. They were saying the seasons.
Yeah, but saying it and doing it, like, are they watching tonight? Were they watching, not tonight, because tonight they have a chance to clinch. Were they watching the other night with the series tied?
With Zach Wheeler, and they're going, and then they're like, I'm back on now.
Well, maybe.
Back on.
Maybe they were. Maybe they were going, well, yeah, but we're still not going to win, or we're not going to win the World Series.
I think that's the worst fan to me. That's the worst people I know.
You can carry it different ways. Like, I laugh that people, and you two are included, get so crazy on Twitter about a game negatively. Like, 3-0, oh, my God, I can't believe they did this or whatever. I let it all play out. That's just me. I'm not saying, and that's what the different fandom is about. Like, you can get mad at somebody for wanting to switch teams or somebody posting something when they're down 3-0 that they suck or, how the hell could you make this decision? Then they come back and win. It's just, that's what fandom is. It's all encompassing.
Yeah, but
there's
no
rules.
The thing is that what fandom is, that's not fandom to me. Never has been.
Well, like what you guys do isn't fandom to me.
What do you mean?
Like in the middle of a game tweeting out how bad things are and all this stuff and I can't stand this.
Is it factual or is it real?
No, it's your opinion.
Yeah, but it's factual. You're pointing out something.
You can't say that your tweets that you put out during a game are always factual. They're your opinion a lot of times.
But you're dealing with something that is factual in the game. You're not going, and more importantly, you're not going, I'm out. Eagles suck. They lost to the Jets. I'm done.
Well, that's the extreme you go to. Maybe the extreme I go to is, why are you getting so upset after 3 innings? You know what I mean? I'm not casting anything on you guys. What I'm saying is it's the different ways that you look at it, and that, to me, is the definition of fandom.
For me, all right, because you're coming at my neck now, Bobby.
I'm not coming at you.
Yes, he is.
I'm using you guys as examples.
Patty's very aggressive. He's being very aggressive.
You're not going to sit there and come at me and then claim you're not coming at me, okay?
Oh, you'll know it when I come at you, dude. Trust me.
I'll shut your mic off right now. I do what I do because usually I'm watching the game by myself.
Yes.
And I like to comment. But if I'm at a watch party with the Tunis, I usually don't end up tweeting too much.
Come watch the game with me.
And if I go to a game,
don't want to. You have those weird key parties where pineapples are all over the place.
And if I go to a game as a fan, you won't see me tweeting at all.
I rarely tweet.
Because I go to a game, I'm there to be a fan. When I'm sitting alone in the Kincade under house arrest, I love that. And I love interacting with listeners, too, during the game and seeing what people think. The one thing I'll tell you is this, though. I do not consider you a fan if you bail on your team and then jump back on and bail on your team and jump back on. Or you tell me, somebody posted on my thing this morning going, do you know the anguish we went through last year, losing the Super Bowl and losing the thing? I'm like, dude, if we lose the Super Bowl, it sucks. But it is better than 95% of the seasons I've ever experienced. I don't get that mentality.
What's your first recollection of somebody saying, oh, my God, I'm out on this team and then coming back? I wonder if it's the same as mine.
Oh, out and then coming back?
My father.
Oh, is that what he was?
Oh, my God. I can't stand this team anymore. And getting up and walking away. I inherited it a little bit when I was a kid, and I learned my lesson quickly. And I'll tell you what it was. It was a game up at the Meadowlands, which became Miracle at the Meadowlands.
Oh, it was awesome.
I walked away, and I was actually kicking the wall in the hallway because I was so mad they were going to lose when I heard my dad go, oh, my God. And I ran and saw Herman Edwards taken in for the touchdown. I learned right then and there, never be out.
My dad was there was always a scapegoat, Pat. And it was the same scapegoat every game. And he was just waiting for that guy to screw up.
Yeah,
there was
right,
one player. Like he had one player or two players that he just couldn't deal with. And he was just waiting for them to have bad plays to be like, here we go again. Here it comes. And I used to watch games with a giant club of Eagles fans down in the South. And there was one guy who literally first incomplete pass from McNabb. First pass that hit at somebody's feet. Here we go again.
Oh, I have a friend like that with Jalen Hurts right now.
Oh, yeah. I can't deal with that.
Yeah.
Now, do you talk to them during games or not?
I told him that I muted him. During
a game, you can't have it.
No.
You can't. I can't have that during a game.
Well, we're having lunch together today. So.
Well, that's good, though. You can have lunch with him. But last night, there's this one guy, and he's just won every week. It's the Eagles are lucky. Eagles are lucky. Yeah, they're lucky. Yeah, shush. Enough. And I can't do it during a game. I'm like, if you're looking to troll, I can't do it during a game. I love to talk football with you, but I can't do that. We have a busy day planned today. The Fanatic's going to be all over it. Game 6 of the NLCS tonight. Tomorrow morning, hopefully we're celebrating a trip to the World Series again. I don't want to deal with 7-game agita. But support life-saving cancer research, would you? Please join me and our generous partner, the Davis CPA Group, and make a donation to the American Association for Cancer Research today. Do it at 975thefanatic.com/AACR because cancer research saves lives. I'm counting on that being the right answer. We look forward to talking to you tomorrow. It should be a glorious Tuesday. Hopefully you're going to be hanging out with Chunas all day and then hanging out with the best show ever. Stick around all day long. We're going to get you ready for what could be one of the biggest Monday nights of your life. Thanks so much for being with us today. Have a great day, everybody.